I'm paying for being off on your server because I player data. It's corrupted. Oh no! Brutal. Oh, that sucks. Wow. All right. Well, we will. I'm sure we'll figure it out. That sucks, buddy. I know it's gonna be something. It's good. I want to grow it out, but I actually contacted the local like hairstylist place. It took a couple calls to figure it out. I was like, can you bleach a beard? Like, is it possible to bleach a beard and make it like white and then turn it purple? And they're like, they're on the other. She's like, yeah, yeah, we can do that. I'm like, oh, I'm so filled with confidence. Please come and take your chemicals and wipe them all over my face with that level of confidence. I'm sure it'll be perfect. But the see, well, because what happened? Because I had a channel reward for turning this purple, right? And I had enough gray. I thought, man, that's gonna turn purple. Actually, it's still a little bit in there. Like, you can still kind of see purple, but not really. So I'm like, man, if I ever do that again, I'm gonna have to like turn this part white, like just this part, turn it white, or at least bleach it a little bit, and then you can turn it purple. Someone said that I'd hang out. Well, I live in a small town, and it's like a limited amount of choices that I have. Like, I called the actual hairstylist, and like the one that's fancy in town that actually costs money, and they're like, no. And so I called the one at Walmart, and of course they're like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm sure it'll be fine. You live in a small town too? All right. I don't know, man. You know how? Did I tell you how much it'll cost? Did I actually say how much it'll cost? If I didn't, take a guess. How much would it cost to dye this part and then turn it purple? Just off top of your head. What do you? Because some of you people have done this. So, nope, $100. $100. So I went Googling to try to figure out how much it would cost to do. Like how I can do it at home, right? How do I do this at home? And it is too much, but there's a bunch of different ways you can do it at home. You can like mix your own peroxide and whatever. The weirdest one is papaya. Apparently you can rub papaya into your beard and it'll bleach it. I don't know how that works. It just sounds weird, but you know, Stranger Things. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna turn this on at some point once I get my head wrapped around it. At this point right now, I'm so focused on the monthly wage thing that it's really it's all I can do. If some of you were wondering, on when was it? Friday? Yeah, I think it was Thursday or Friday. Hi, Dragon Daddy Bear. Go adult, have some fun. I hope it's okay. Because some adulting is fun. It can be at times. But yeah, no, so some of you were on my coffee. My brain is working. So if you're a member of my coffee support, then you actually will get some behind the scenes stuff. And they are I'll send a prayer request, or I'll send things through there that I don't want everybody to see, just people that are really invested in the channel. And on Friday, I was having a moment where just kind of having a crisis, doing something that I had been putting off for a really long time. It made me nervous and it's freaking me out. And so I just kind of laid it out there and I'm like, listen, everybody, can you pray for this? Because it's kind of freaking me out. And then I sat down and I actually did it. Well, to be fair, I did like a third of it, and maybe a third, maybe a quarter. And so and how did it go? It was no bad stuff came back, put it that way. There's no terrible things that happened as a result, which is good because I don't like terrible things. But no actual like product, no fruit, no nothing has come from it. And to be fair, it shouldn't be a surprise. because if you contact people through email, it is so much easier to just kind of delete it or remove it or get lost in the shuffle or whatever. That's why what they you know, if you're going to contact people, you're supposed to get on the phone. And it just that's even more terrifying. So I'm starting with email. We'll see if it goes. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Today we're going to start the Devo, and we're going to talk about Gideon a little bit, and then from Gideon we're going to get into Scarlet Nexus. I don't think there's any reason to do anything else other than just kind of keep it simple. However, I should stop before we get into anything and just ask the question: how was Easter weekend? How was Good Friday? How was Resurrection Sunday? One of the things about that week, and I can tell you this from years and years of ministry experience, is it's a very spiritually charged time. The enemy is at high alert, and people who are Christians, or if you're married to a non-Christian, or if you're connected, or there's troubles anywhere, the chinks in the armor are always exploited at this time of year, and it becomes really, really difficult. It can be very emotional. It can be amazing too, like the people rededicating their life to Christ, or seeing things they've never seen before, understanding the gospel in a way they've never experienced it before. So there's some amazing stuff. So I will ask the question: how was your Easter weekend, and did you have an experience that was maybe special, or was it extra hard, or was it something that kind of came out of left field and you didn't know was going to happen? I'd love to hear some stories before we jump into anything. How was your Easter weekend? Dragon, bigger than the dojo? That's pretty big, man. Holy mackerel. Plixpop says, pray for continued wisdom and strength for what you're I wish I could share. I really do. I wish I could just share everything. Just dump the truck on you guys, let you all know, so that I don't have to keep talking in generalities and keep talking in because I'm sure it sounds to some of you, especially ones who are new and don't know me that well, like I'm sure it sounds like I'm just this drama queen who's just is always trying to solicit pity from people, and it was like, no. Truly, there's some rough stuff happening. I just can't tell you what it is. Yeah. Hi, Orange Crash, good to see you. Lizzie says, I guess that explains why I felt so down yesterday and ended up staying home all day, which sucked, to be honest. Yeah, it's a very spiritually charged time. For me as a pastor, as soon as Lent starts and it goes into, especially Holy Week, it just like all hell literally is breaking loose. Everything starts to go sideways. If there's something wrong in the church, it's going to amplify everybody. Granted, there's a lot of pressure and stuff. You got to get the breakfast ready. You got to get the extra service ready. You got to do, there's more people coming to church than before because of whatever. And it can be a big deal. But at home, the last thing that the enemy wants is for you to rededicate your life to Christ, for you to experience the amazingness of the gospel, the fact that Jesus did die on the cross for you, as an act of love, so that you could be with him forever. Like that simple gospel. He wants you to be, worried about whether or not you're good enough, and whether or not you are clean enough, and what everybody thinks of you, and whether or not you have you're faithful enough, or if you pray enough and maybe God's upset with you. He wants you to be sitting there spun out in this realm of religious fear and paranoia. But the truth is that the message of the gospel is nothing but hope, and nothing but a connection to one who did everything for you. And so keeping you away from that message is really important. Yeah, thanks, Plixie. I appreciate that. Resurrection Sunday was fantastic. Had to serve that day also. That's good. Just hearing the song's message from the production booth. So spiritual. Yeah, it's cool, man. That's cool. I mean, I used to love being in the booth. It was one of my favorite things, because as someone who not a fan of sitting with a bunch of other people and whatnot, it's to be able to kind of be there, to know I'm serving, to have kind of control over the stuff that I can have control over, but at the same time needing to engage. Right, that's the thing about running the PowerPoint or running the sound, or when you have to be present the whole service. You can't just go check out because you're in charge of some stuff. So yeah, it can actually be better. And I find the same thing about when I play music, right? If I'm playing bass or I'm playing guitar or whatever in the band, because I have to be present in the music, present in the service, be there for it, I find it easier to worship, as opposed to standing in the pew and just kind of being, having too much, I don't know, too much stuff that isn't focused. Friday and Saturday were good. Sunday was a complete mess. I really couldn't sit down for 20 minutes. It was that much of a mess. As in physically, or do you mean like you were just super duper busy? Or was it just like there was so much going on that you like that you were needed for? Because I know that can be a time too. Dragon, but on the bright side, we did have 3 baptisms off far out, eh? That's cool. I love that emote, Dragon Daddy. Oh, no, Dragon Flame. That's cool. Really cool. I love that. Bro fest hug. I love it, bro. Hi, Double Pixel. Good to see you. How was your Easter weekend? Let's flip over to the verse of the day and we'll get going here. It's not ready. Okay. Boop. Pop. There we go. That's it. 1 second. I'm just gonna go open a window. It's hot in here. All right. Art Pibble, hi. How you doing, Pibble? What's going on? Right, so my church used to put out cantatas at Christmas and Easter, seeing those as kind of a high point for the year, but at this point they haven't reformed the choir yet. Aw, that's too bad. I know choir people are you. I don't know anybody who's on the fence with a choir. You either think choir is the greatest thing ever, and if you're in the choir, you're basically, you know, next to angelic, or there are people who are like, man, being in the choir is the worst. It's like the worst, most horrible, most stressful. But it's just like, no, I would never be in a choir. There's nobody in between. We're the most important part of the service, and everybody should come for the choir, or you couldn't make me get into that choir for all the money in the world. Nursing a midday coffee. Oh, that's good. You know, I think I've established the fact that when I have a coffee and I keep it here and I've got a little coffee warmer, I think what it does is it basically, I think I just make I'm nursing it like you're talking about, it just makes the milk more sour and more sour and more sour and more sour. And then by the end of the afternoon, I think I'm literally poisoning myself after about a couple hours of just sipping that rancid milk. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe we'll just stick to this. I'm trying something new, by the way. So I don't know if you should pat me on the back or not. I'm trying something I don't normally do, and that is aspartame or zero stuff. I don't do Coke Zero. I don't do pop very often. I like iced tea though. And so this thing here, this iced tea, it is sweetened with aspartame. Yeah, I'm not a fan of aspartame. I guess we'll see. It's got sucralose too, so sucralose is good. And you get a coffee, but that requires moving. Yeah, you can't just snap your fingers and have it materialize. That's too bad. Milk alternative. I don't think of anything else out there that I could have that I would like almond milk, soy milk, hemp milk. I've tried them all. Like just none of them are any good. Aspartame's gross. Sucralose isn't bad. Like I find sucralose, it actually tastes like sweetener. It doesn't taste like chemicals. I'm not a fan of aspartame though. So I'm gonna try this and see what happens. And I know, Crispy. It's not good. Actually, I'm surprised it was aspartame. I didn't even look because I'm like I'll try it because I drink an iced tea and it's got calories or whatever. You're not supposed to drink your calories, and I'm like, I'll try it. I didn't even look. I seeing it has aspartame. I'm like, bummer. But we'll try it. Actually, one of the things that sucralose does is it tastes sweet, doesn't have calories, but apparently when it gets into your system, it will tell your guts that you're having sugar and give you sugar cravings, right? So it'll end up actually working against you. I'm out of coffee and going through the day filled with emptiness and disappointment. Aww. Yeah. Are you a coffee mate guy then? Anybody here a coffee mate? Yeah. Pibble? Yeah. See, coffee creamer, the pour out stuff, I think it's still got milk in it, right? But like powder, the Coffee Mate powder. That's actually not a bad idea. Getting the Coffee Mate powder and using that, because I don't think that can go bad. You know, trying to figure out ways I can fit more coffee into my life. That's probably not the healthiest thing to do in the world. How can I get more coffee into my system over a longer period of time? That's what I... Yeah, there you go. The dragon's half quoting scripture. There you go, Shock. That's what you need. Just some out of context scripture for you. Sucralose tastes like chemicals too. I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind sucralose. I can get away with it anyway. But it's not sugar, that's for sure. There are way too many chemicals in processed food that have no business being inside the human body. True enough. An aperitif effect. Alcohol does the same thing. What does? What do you mean? I know aperitif means after dinner thing, but what's the effect, Crispy? Hey, well, Kyria, good to see you. I had a good Easter, but tonight was under spiritual attack. I don't know what's going on, man. What's happening in your life? Let's chat about it for a minute before I jump into the Devo. I'll make you hungry. I thought aperitif was after dinner. Am I crazy? Refreshing alcoholic drinks that serve before a meal. Okay, what's the after one called then? What is the thing you have after a meal called? Digestifs. Digestifs. It's an yeah. A drink you serve before dinner is an aperitif. A drink you have after dinner is called a digestif. It's all excuses to just drink more. Well, it's for digestion. It's for the appetite. You see, it's meant to stimulate something. Hand me some booze. Yeah, I want more wine. That's all that means. What if you only have a singular teeth? If you only got the one, then you clearly can't have the pair of teeths. I always have a pair. So it's one in each hand. That's how that goes. Got started on Coffee Mate, even though off-brand stuff at jobs. The only off-brand Coffee Mate, man, right? Oh, you ever go to that? I don't know. I've worked at enough industrial places. You go there and they've got like the coffee, and it's always like 19 hours old and in a big giant jug or like a half burnt thing. You're like, okay, coffee, whatever. And then they give you Coffee Mate, but it comes in like those little itty bitty like tea bag sized packages. So you're like rip pour, rip pour, rip pour, rip pour. Like, why are you doing this? It takes so many just to make a coffee. 2 teeths and one hand are worth one in the bush. Yes, that's exactly it. Well, Kyria, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't want to jump in unless you want to. Just, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. I just want to make sure that I have a chance to say that if you want to chat about it, now's a good time. Happy to take a minute. There you go. I don't know. Says Satan and his angels just come and break my relationship with Jesus and pull me away from him. I don't trust Jesus. Oh yeah, okay. All right. So I don't know if you want to do this, if you don't mind, but can we get a little specific? I think one of the things that we can do when it comes to moments like that is to get specific and really kind of mine out what that's going, because I don't trust Jesus is big, right? So with what is my example, right? So you've got something in your life that you either want or you want to get rid of, or some fear, anxiety, or some need, and you've got something happening and you're like, okay, I can either take care of this myself, do this the old-fashioned way, go with a different thing, or I can trust Jesus. And so what's the thing that you're actually like the thing you are struggling to trust with? I'm gonna try this. Gonna get all those chemicals swirling around my body. Hi, Denalid. It's not bad. It tastes a lot better than I thought it would. They loved me, for example. I know it in my head, but I don't go in my heart. Yo, you're not missing it. It's fine. We haven't even started yet, Zach. Well, Kyria, I can't. All I can say to that is basically, you're not alone. There have been times, I'll speak from only my own experience, and I'm sure there's other people in the chat, and that is that there have been times in my life where things have been so out of control, so difficult, so painful, that the intellectual understanding of the existence of God, not a problem. The understanding of that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, that my eternity is secure, all of that was, yep, I got it. What I struggled with was the kindness of God. That was the number one thing that got stuck in my craw. So I'm standing at the hospital. Everything is just the worst. Things are bad at home and bad in the hospital and bad in my heart, and I'm never in the right spot because I'm always, like, not where someone needs me. Plus this church and the work was hard, and like everything was just, I'm stuck. And the question comes, and I think it was a very spiritual thing. And that question comes is like, how can you say God loves you? How can you say God is kind if you're going through this? This is not kind. God, how can God be kind if you're at the end of yourself? You've been following him faithfully. You're a preacher for a long time. You've been, going through suffering for the faith for a long, long time. You've stayed dedicated to people who are very, very difficult, and like you've tried your best. You're doing your devos, like you're doing the right stuff, as somehow you're still in this position where everything is just the worst, right? How can God be kind in that, right? How can God be kind in that? And it took probably 2 months where I was chatting with, a counselor, chatting with friends, looking into the Bible, journaling about it, to kind of get my head wrapped around this idea of how can I be going through such difficult things? How can there be so much going on in my heart and my life and my mind, and God still be a kind God? You know what I mean? So like, I can't answer it for you because there's no pat answer I can give you that's like, oh wow, I totally agree. I can say this though, that you're not alone in that. It is difficult sometimes, and that but if you are willing to open up your heart and kind of go, God, I don't see it right now, I don't feel it right now, but I'm gonna go tell somebody, pastor, friend, mentor. I'm gonna look into your word, and I'm gonna keep doing my devos, even though I don't feel anything when I do it. I'm gonna keep doing it. Can you show me yourself in it? Because I don't feel like it's happening right now. I'm doing it and it's just rote, or God, if there's something that's in the way, show me so I can get it out of the way, right? There's a time where in anybody's spiritual life where you have everything's going great and it's really easy, right? Devos come easy and life comes easy and worship feels great, and you got lots going on. And then there are times where things tend to dry up, and where you're like, man, I don't feel like reading the Bible, and I don't feel like praying, and I don't feel like doing any of this stuff. It's not I'm not into it. I don't like the idea of going to church. It's just full of hypocrites, and I don't want to worship because Christian worship is dumb, and I don't want to turn on Christian radio because Christian radio is garbage, and my Bible is just dry. There are times where you just kind of hit that wall, and everything, your religious life, your spiritual religious life becomes yucky, unpalatable, or at least dull. It's those kind of times where discipline takes over. And I know nobody likes the D word, I get that, but that's the time where discipline takes over, where you say, okay, despite the fact that I don't feel it, because I intellectually know God exists, God has been with me in the past, he has shown himself to me, that there's something wrong spiritually. So my intellect's going to take over at this point, and I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do the devos, I'm going to say whatever prayer I can say anyway. I'm going to still go to church, I'm still going to be in service, I'm still going to do the thing, even though I don't feel it, I don't like it, and whatever, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's where the discipline comes in. And it ends up being that through that obedience, God sends, God finds, God gives those moments of you're like, okay, now I can experience it. Because what's happening is he's helping you build your faith muscle, right? He's helping you prepare you for a time coming down the road where you need to be stronger, where you need to be more experienced, where you need to have more like attachment to him, that isn't based on emotion. Because a time of suffering is coming, or a time of something is happening to your friend, who's going to go through some really difficult stuff, and you can be able to say, yeah, I know what that's like. It's really, really hard, and it felt miserable, and I felt miserable too. And the only thing I can say is that lean on the fact that you know God exists and that he's faithful to the system, right? You work the system, work your religion. That's the only thing you can say, right? That's, to me, it's hard. Forgive yourself, trust that, again, you're not saved by religion. You're not saved by how much time you pray and whether or not you go to church and whether or not you do your devos and whether or not you're part of a worship team. You're not saved by any of that. You're saved by the grace of God because you believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ for your sake. For, Jesus died on the cross for your sins. That's what you're saved by. The rest of it is relational stuff, right? It's a result of, but there are times when that's hard. So cut yourself some slack and do what you can. Just do what you can, right? If it's like, man, I don't feel like doing devos, grab a biography, right? Go grab, like, I've got a few books over here that are great. Just go grab a biography and read that instead. You don't need like, I can't look at the Bible right now. It's just not working for me. Go ahead, grab a biography, right? Read that for a little bit. It'll feed you. Shock says it's been very rough night last night, stemming from not trusting being patient in a specific circumstance. It can be hard. One of the reasons I know God loves me is not letting me give up when I desperately wanted to. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. What can I ask you for a bit more specificity there? Like, what is it? What do you need patience with? Like, what do you want to happen? Can I ask? And I guess, well, Carrie, the last thing I would say is don't keep it to yourself. And I'm glad you were able to share, but you really do need to keep talking about this. One of the things that people keep getting wrong, as far as and this is secular people, this is people that are going through counseling, this is people that are talking to their doctor, this is people who have friends, this is people who are their coach. Like, what they'll do is they'll keep a pain to themselves. They'll keep a secret. Like, they won't tell their coach that their knees hurt. They won't tell their doctor that there's some kind of pain inside of them, because they're worried the doctor is going to be mad at them, or the coach is going to do something negative to them, or something, and they end up shooting themselves in the foot because they don't open up their mouth, right? They don't tell their pastor this spiritual thing that's happening. They don't tell their parents this difficulty and this struggle that they're having. They don't tell their friends a temptation that they keep falling for, because they've worked themselves into the place where they think that if they do that, they're going to be judged or be whatever. And it's such a lie. If you open up your mouth and you share your struggles with your, someone who cares about you, your coach, your doctor, your counselor, your pastor, your father, your friend, or your mother, whatever, your parent, and they're not gonna be mad at you unless they're really bad at it. But they're gonna be like, yeah, I see that. Let me help you with that. Let me walk with you in that. So don't be the person who keeps it to themselves, because all you're doing is prolonging your misery, right? You're clearly not strong enough to figure it out yourself. You're clearly not strong enough to do this all by yourself. You're clearly not strong enough to equip yourself. So you need to open up your mouth, right? You need to be able to say to people, or someone, not people, find one person, right? This is what's going on in my heart. Let it out. Because as soon as you let it out of your heart, let it out of your brain, it becomes so much smaller, right? It is so much smaller. It's huge when it's in your head, and then it shrinks whenever you speak it. Hi, Beardsley. Apparently my notifications for channels going live is broken. Oh, really? It's funny. I've heard that a few times from different people. I don't know. I don't even do that anymore. I just remember when people are on, and then when I sit down with the computer, I go look at the list. I don't even try with the notifications. Our people says I watched a short that the heart is the caboose of a train. We can only control the engine, actions intellectual, but if we control that, the heart will follow, though sometimes very delayed. Yes, I think I would say it this way, that you are a four-pronged individual. You are heart, soul, mind, and strength. You are an emotional being, you're a spiritual being, you are an intellectual being, and you're a physical being. And each of those have a connection to each other. If you feel physically sick, it's going to make you feel sad, right? If you get hurt emotionally, someone like lets you down or breaks your heart or betrays you, you know, your brain is going to go sideways on you, and you're going to have a whole bunch of thoughts in there that aren't true, and you know that aren't true, but you still feel true. And then you can get yourself to the point where you're so emotionally hurt that your stomach is hurting, and you're full of cortisol, and now all your joints hurt. Like, everything is connected, right? So if you want to be well-rounded and pull one area out, like say you're emotionally down, or you're spiritually down, or you are physically down, or you're intellectually, fuzzy, or whatever it is, you utilize the strengths of the others to pull the other one out. So, like, for example, say you're emotionally down, right? Physically, you can go and you can get some sunshine. You can have a vitamin. You can go and have one of your favorite teas. Go for a walk, whatever it is. Intellectually, you can go through what they call cognitive behavioral therapy, which is basically thinking about the truth of what your feelings are, right? Which is what you're talking about, right? That idea of my brain is going to interpret my feelings. Is this true? Is what I'm thinking true? Is my heart? Or does this person really say that? Are all these fictional conversations I'm having in my head, are any of them realistic, reasonable? The answer is probably no. And then if you take your soul, your spiritual life, and you're like, I'm going to pour my heart out to God. I'm going to go do the things religiously that I know are healthy. Eventually that pulls your emotions up, because the rest are being pulled up too, and it fills in the gap. Well, Carrie said, I'm not good at English. Sorry. I was in church last Sunday and I fear humans, but I will return. It is hard. I fear humans too. I fear humans too. It's hard for me to go to church. Stupid abuse and stupid PTSD and stupid, really difficult stuff going on in my life. And I sat there in church, and keep in mind, I'm a preacher. Like, I sat in church, and it was like I physically had to keep myself in the chair and not get up and leave halfway through Easter service, right? I felt like I was just, I wanted to get out of there. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And it's not the service's fault. It's not the pastor's fault. It's not the preacher's, not the church, not anything. It's just me being afraid of people, and I wanted to escape and go hide. And yeah, I feel you. It's hard. It's hard to do that. Shock says it's hard to believe that when you do share, then do get judged, or they cut you off or try to give you advice before you finish saying what's going on because they assume the end of the story. And Shock, you're right. And that's why I say only share it with one person, because there are a lot of people out there that can't handle it. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who, we were talking about that. It's like their question was basically, how much am I allowed to share of the stuff going on inside my heart with some other person? Because, is there like a limit to pouring it out on a friend? Or is there something I have to save for only a counselor, save for someone else, whatever? And my answer was, there are a lot. I said, listen, there's a bunch of complications to sharing your heart with a friend. One, there are a lot of people out there that can't handle what you're going through, right? So literally you'll pour it onto their lap and be like, here's what I'm going through, and you'll break them. They'll be like, I cannot handle your suffering, and they run away from you. I've had plenty of people in my life who've looked at my suffering and their secondhand suffering just by looking at what I'm going through caused them to run away from me and leave their relationship. They're not my friend anymore because of what I was going through, right? There's some people who eat, who love, who chew, who just enjoy drama. That's their favorite thing to do. And so they're not there to help you, and they're not there to listen. They're basically feeding off you like a drama vampire, and they will they will feign interest, and they'll pretend to like be on your side, but really what they're doing is like they just love juicy gossip, and they love watching people squirm, and they love just all that. So for whatever reason, because it makes them feel powerful, it makes them feel like their life has meaning, or they feel like they love giving it up for gossip or whatever. There's some people that are just drama vampires, and that's what they exist for. You got to be careful with them. there are some people who are legitimately unable to handle it, right? As in like they when you tell them, they will try to solve your problems, right? They're not equipped for it. They'll try to solve your problems, but they're not going to do any of it right, and they're actually going to cause more problems for you because they're trying to fix you, but they don't have the expertise and they don't have the ability to fix you. And so when you tell them, all of a sudden they jump to a solution, like you said, jump to a conclusion, and they're always, like, well, just do this and do that, and what if this, and what if I give you money, and what if I take this, what if that? They end up just causing more problems than anything else. And then the last person is that mature Christian who loves you, loves Jesus, knows the scripture, and has walked through some difficulty. That's the person you're looking for. So you look for someone who goes, who do I know that loves me, knows me, that loves Jesus, that knows the Bible, and has been through some stuff, right? They'll find those four things, right? Find those four things. You're kind of like, who is that? Who do I know that's been through some stuff, who knows the Bible better than I do anyway, who is, who loves Jesus, who I know that they're a Christian, and I know that they care about me, right? That person, right? That person. Is there somebody out there that fits that description? Sphere says, I just assume some people cannot handle my depression, and stories that come from that Christian ninjas mostly keep it to myself. Yeah. The downside of that, though, is you're not equipped, Zafira. You don't have the strength to handle it. One of the lies that depression continuously will tell you is you need to be alone because you are toxic to other people. You're a danger to them. If you share with them, you're going to hurt them. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody will understand what you're going through. There's nobody in the world who can get it. You're the only one going through it, and therefore you should be alone, right? They'll hurt you. You'll hurt them. They don't get it. And you don't know how to explain it, therefore be alone. Those lies that keep rolling through your head, I can't tell that friend, it'll just hurt their feelings. I can't tell that friend, they'll misunderstand. I can't tell that person, they won't understand, they don't get it. I can't explain it properly, therefore I'll stay by myself. That's a trap. It's literally a trap to keep you miserable. The depression will lie to you, and the only way that you can get past it is to take the risk of finding that one person. It could be a professional, it could be your doctor, it could be, a pastor, it could be an elder, it could be a mature friend. Like, it doesn't have to be anybody. God has given me two people. One is a very mature pastor, older dude, who's been through stuff I've been through, and one is a guy who's literally going through what I'm going through right now. He's just like a peer. We just sit there and just talk about the miserable stuff going on in our life, and then that's it. And that and breakfast. And there's no counseling, there's no nothing. Just getting it out of my system is the best that I can do, and it's really helpful. Shock says, I once tried sharing some sin struggles with a pastor who told me that I was struggling with wasn't really bad. It was fine. We all sin. Come on, man. It's all good. That's rough. I mean, maybe, and I don't want to, I wasn't there, but maybe the guy was trying to say like you're beating yourself up too much, right? It's like that it's not as bad as you think. Maybe we can work on that. I don't know. I'd like to believe there was something good in there, but that would not help. That brings even more anxiety. Says, come on, it is. It's scary. It's not easy. It's not easy. What I'm saying isn't easy. I'm just saying it's the thing to do if you want to try to find some health on the other side of it. Art says, I have a success story about church. Usually I help in the kids service, but there weren't any kids, so I struggle around people. We have a small balcony, so I can set up there. There were only the tech team and a couple teens, so I was comfortable enough to stay. I'm gonna try that again. I have a success story about the church. Usually I help in the kids service, but there weren't any kids. I struggle around people, but we have a small balcony, so I sat up there. There were only the tech team and a couple of teens, so I was comfortable enough to stay. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I get that. Yeah. I do the same thing. Yep, go find a place where not many people are. That's why I said I used to love volunteering there, because there's a door, there's a wall. They don't bother the tech guy. That's a good thing, Zafira, I get that from people. Oh, sorry. Shock is like, can handle hearing a lot from a friend. I won't like it if it's about my friend having gone through pain, but it won't change that I love them and I think they're kind of great. Yeah, because you've been through stuff, Shock. That's the difference. Some people can't handle it because for them, their life is rosy and they don't understand why anybody else would go through suffering. Just don't. I get that from people as well. Not that some don't have it worse than I do. I know that some people do. I just hope that I don't know. I hope I don't know the pastor. I might just want to knock some sense into them. No kidding. River was always really good at a listener, but rarely a good fixer. Within the last decade, I would say I've lost the ability to even listen well. Oh, that's no good. Because listening is the important part. Most people don't need you to fix them. They don't. Their solution, here's the secret, right? If someone is sharing something with you, no piece of advice you are about to give them is something they haven't already heard. It's not, you will give them nothing they've already not thought about. They will say, oh, that's a cool idea because they want you to shut up. But they've already thought of it. They may have already tried it, or they may have already tried it and dismissed it. They do not want your advice. What they want is your compassion. They just want to hear, that sucks, buddy. How can I help? Maybe. And then shut up about it, and they go, nothing, just thank you for listening, right? That sucks, buddy is often more than enough because it acknowledges the pain, it acknowledges the frustration, it acknowledges that they're in a bad place and they shouldn't be pulling it out. You just kind of like, oh, why didn't you just stop feeling bad, right? Sometimes all they want to hear is that sucks, buddy, and then move on. Nope, can't handle alone. That's why I give it to God. He has it. Yes, but remember, Zafira, there's nowhere in scripture that you can find where people are working on stuff by themselves, right? It's always done in community. Jesus himself, the perfect human being, the number one, definitely could do everything, had perfect access to every single thing a human being can do perfectly. He chose to work around people, even though they were not that great, and even though they were lesser than him, and even though they had troubles, he chose to work around people, right? Prophets, Paul, right? He went and wandered off into the desert for a little while to go talk to God, and he came out and he's like, I gotta go find people. And he walked with, people who were less experienced with him, people who were in a different culture than him, people where, he worked with people. There's nobody in scripture you can find that worked by himself exclusively. They were often, the prophets, like say Ezekiel kind of thing, they did weird stuff, and they were, they were definitely often ostracized, but it was because they were the people were supposed to be listening to them. They were supposed to be working together on repentance. Being alone is not God's will, right? I give it to God, he has it, but his will for you is not to work on it alone with him. Remember that the very first thing that was ever wrong with the universe, with the world, even though God himself was standing next to Adam, was that Adam was alone. We're not meant to do it alone. Dragon Eddie Bar says, being a Christian and having depression comes off like an oxymoron. They are not mutually exclusive. Well, that's like saying, especially if you understand the idea of brain chemistry, right? Like that's like saying being a Christian and having diabetes is not like, yeah, it's a brain thing, man. Especially if it's a result of abuse, right? I've got this issue in my brain where I've been through so much terrible, hurtful stuff that it actually carved a rut in my brain. This is how my doctor talks about it. You carved a rut in your brain where your normal is sad and paranoid and hurt. That's just normal for you. And therefore, every relationship, everywhere you go, everything you do is going to be, that's how you're going to feel, right? Paranoid and nervous and sad and hurt all the time. And so for a long time, I was going through, like that was just life. This is just what life feels like. And the doctor kept being like, I can help you. Here's the medication. It will help you get out of the rut. Just take the medication. And I'm like, that stuff's bad for you. I don't like that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so after 3 years of him pestering me, I'm like, fine, I'll try it. I actually tried like 4 or 5 others before that were all really horrible. And so he gave me this thing and I took it, and within a couple days, it was like it wasn't like all of a sudden I was blissfully happy, or all of a sudden all my, everything just kind of went away. It just meant when I got up in the morning, I didn't immediately feel like crawling into a hole. I didn't feel like everything I was doing was like walking uphill through molasses carrying a backpack full of rocks. It was like, oh, I have some energy to do this. I can actually focus on something now. I can, I don't feel like the world is against me and everything's against everything I'm doing. Like the medication itself actually helped. And that's because it's a chemical issue. It can be helped, right? They're not always. Some there's just spiritual issues that you need to work with spiritually or whatever. Sometimes it's because you only eat sugar and you live in and caffeine crashes. So change your diet and you feel better. But sometimes as a result of whatever, you feel crappy. And you can be helped with medicine because it's part of your brain. Oh, to answer your question from earlier, someone I care a lot about who needs Jesus, and I know I can't save them, it's the Holy Spirit, and God told me to get out of the way. We're not even in communication anymore, but I still stress over their salvation when it's not helpful to anyone or anything to do so. Yeah, you can't do anything about it. That's true. Why stop communicating though? Shock, like what's the reason? Why wouldn't you talk to them anymore? River says, I think my issue is I got to the point where I was having so many of my own issues that hear others' issues seems to add to my issues. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think one reason that I kind of feel you is because at some point, like I've got so much going on, I really can't handle anybody else's stuff. Hi, Sam, it's good to see you. But I think what happens with maturity has come to recognize that the stuff that I've been through, God is using to give me a perspective that not very many people have on other people's suffering and what they're going through, right? Like there aren't very many people who like there are a lot of people who felt bullying in high school, right? I get that. There's not a lot of people who have felt church abuse, who've been through abused at a church. There are not many people who have been abused by a church as the pastor, right? There aren't very many people who have faced, like mental health issues in their home that are so severe and so terrifying that they end up, like breaking the family and breaking stuff and then having that person leave and then die, right? Like that was my son, at 19 years old, just like that kind of pain and that kind of misery is like, it's really horrible and it's hard to go through and it's hard to be part of. But in maturity, I can go being through all that. It's not wasted. It's not like it makes me it gives me that black mark of that I'm going to be infectious to others. It's that when I see someone going through something, when I see something who's facing loss or facing abuse or facing difficulty or social anxiety or bullying or whatever, confusion, that my heart now goes out to them and goes, yeah, I know what that's like. I know what it's like. It's really, really, really hard. And so therefore you're not going to get pat answers. You're not going to get like, don't worry, God will take care of it. It'll be fine. Have you tried praying about it? Like you're not going to get that because I know that wouldn't help me. It's far more complicated than that, but it's hard. Like it's not easy, right? It still feels like you've got issues that are so big that if I add anybody else's issues, instead of what I say is that as I share and other people go, yeah, I go through this, I go through that. I go, these are people who know how I feel. This isn't people who I'm adding to their suffering or they're adding to my suffering. These are people that are helping me bear my sufferings because they understand what it's like, right? They understand what it's like. Shock says, being alone and it sucks. If you ever want to talk, it doesn't matter. Yep. And that's why I'm a big believer in the Discord, man. Like it's just like there's so many people online on Twitch, like in our community, like the people that I'm talking to right now who feel a sense of loneliness, who feel a sense of separation, who feel a sense of spiritual oppression, who have been hurt by the church, who are going through unique mental illness or learning disabilities or physical disabilities and stuff. That's who's here, right? That's the group. And so therefore it's we need to hang out. We need to take care of each other. We need to be the ones who are like, yeah, we're all in this together. You know, we're just the group of misfits on the island of misfit toys, and that's good. We should be hanging out together. That's what we should be doing. Not secretly, you know, like pretending everything's fine and trying to act like another Christian or act like somebody we think, you know, we're just always saying we're having a fine day, or just pretending to be spiritual so that other people think we're normal. Just, you know, just tell people what's going on. And I think that's one of the benefits of being part of a Discord full of misfit toys like us. Hopefully you know what I mean with that. You've all seen the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon, hopefully. Is that too old? Thank you for the hug, Eileen. Appreciate that. Not many Christians talk about depression. It's a problem. I agree. And there's are some who over spiritualize it, and there's some who deny it exists, which is bleh. River, I wasn't a pastor, but the Sound of Media guy. Yeah, it's hard. Church abuse is real, and not just sexual abuse. Like, that's not, you know, no. There are a lot of different ways to be abused. I was never sexually abused by a church. I was taken apart and destroyed publicly, and I was hurt and brought through misery and suffering and en masse with multiple people absolutely trying to destroy me, to the point where I physically wanted to die, thought about how I could die, and then was rescued by a few pastors who just went out of their way and went, you know what, you're killing your pastor, he's going to die. And they saved me from them and gave me a 3-month break. And I've hit burnout twice. Burnout's no joke, man. If you've ever felt legit burnout, it's no joke. It is really, it's almost scary. It's always scary. The level of fatigue, and the level of how often you're in tears, and how hard it is, because you get up, the thing is, you're getting up like, I have a job and let's go, and you just keep moving forward and you keep pushing forward. You go to the meetings, you go to work, you do the thing, you know, because it's the right thing to do. And when your body just goes, that's it, I'm done, your body, your brain, your soul, your heart, your mind, everything just goes, you know, you're done. It feels awful. Hey, Lamb of God, thank you. Oh, golly, thank you. Sounds good. Where are we at? Shock. They're my ex. I can't communicate with them without wanting the relationship back, and that's not good for either of us. God moved me out of the way, and that's hard, but I'm trying to trust his process, not mine. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Probably for the best. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know your situation, but if that's what you think is the right move, kind of having distance and being concerned from afar, sure, why not? Who am I to say otherwise? Jaziel says, mental health, in my opinion, is the biggest struggle in the church, which causes most other things. I disagree. I think it's big. The biggest struggle in the church right now is lack of understanding of Scripture, complete ignorance of the Bible, right? Because if you knew the Bible and you knew Scripture and you understood the stories of Scripture and the theology of Scripture and the heart of God and the heart of Jesus, and knew about him, you wouldn't have issues with mental health. Because you know what Elijah went through, and you know what Paul went through, and you know what Jesus went through, and you know what David went through, and you know what Saul went through, and you know what Solomon went through, and like you would have known all these, and you'd be like, yeah, mental health's real, man. So, like, that's the issue, right? Burnout takes a long time to recover from shock. So here, I'll tell you my story. So 2009, I'm going through burnout. My church has been absolutely annihilating me for about 2.5 years. Meetings, and just really horrible stuff. No defense for me. It was me on one side of the table, everybody else on the other side of the table. And it was a 1.5 years of, you've done nothing wrong, we don't know, but we're going to keep having meetings and dragging you through the mud. And they came up with one of the worst. I tell the story, like, how bad did it get? Okay. So at one point, the church decided that the way that they were going to try to handle it this week was they would have me, Pastor Al, sit in the front of the church, like pulpit here, me down there, and in front of a table. And they would say, anybody who wants to come and say anything to Pastor Al can come and say whatever they want, and Pastor Al is not allowed to talk. And so I sat there by myself on one side of the table while a parade of people came in and just laid into me with lies and horrible stuff, like just truly awful stuff. Like it was really, really terrible. And so eventually I cracked. I just snapped, right? So I couldn't take it anymore. My body falls apart, my brain falls apart. There's nothing left. I get rescued 3 months. Okay, so they're like, you can have 3 months off, but you have to come back to our church. That's the agreement. You have to come back. Okay, fine. After 2 weeks, I said, this is stupid. Let me just go back to work. It is so dumb. I've been off for 2 weeks. I've been bored out of my skull. It's not that bad. I'm not that hurt. I'll get over it. Let's just go. Come on, we'll just keep on. We'll keep doing the meetings. I'm not gonna quit. After 3 months. Okay, so that's what, 12 weeks. I finally started to feel how hurt and how much was going on. It was the week before I was supposed to come back, and I was realizing just how sad and just how scared and just how burnt out and tired and hurt I was. After 3 months, I go back, and I've told you the story before. If you want to know my story, you want to hear some of this stuff, exclamation point my story, and I have a podcast series that I talk about it. It's all one shot, so go ahead and listen to it if you want to. And this is where I want to get to. So I leave that church, I have a break, I go to another church, and this is two years later, maybe two and a half years later. Okay, 2 years and whatever. I'm in the new church, where things are going fine. They're very nice. We're having meetings. It's great. When I say something, it's really cool. It's fine. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in a meeting, and it's December or something, or November, I can't remember when, and they say, okay, well, it's time to start talking about the annual budget. It's that time of year, the annual meeting's coming, and of course, that means talking about Pastor Al's salary. And as soon as that hit, I had a panic attack like you would not believe. I started just bawling, like tears. I was hyperventilating and tearing up in the middle of a church meeting, where everything was supposedly fine. And it's because I still had so much pain in my heart from stuff that I either hadn't dealt with, or I hadn't been through, or whatever, that it just triggered immediately, just that PTSD all of a sudden out of nowhere, slam. And I'm through sobs. I'm like, it's not you guys. I promise it's not you guys. This is me. It's just baggage from the past. I'm sorry. And I go get myself cleaned up, and we move on. But all that to say, it, you talked about a while back, I'm waiting for like it to recover. It's a long process, dude. Like, it's a long process. It's not something that just happens. It's not just a nap and a snack. It takes a long while, and it's going to be especially if you've really faced miserable, abusive stuff, or you really did kind of get wrecked. Your body takes a long time to recover. Sometimes, and I'd imagine Samus knows the answer, but it's something like a year or a year and a half before your adrenal glands will like recover, or your body can actually get around to even coming close to feeling normal. Like, your body chemistry is screwed up as a result of it. Samus says, I don't know, man, when depression, anxiety hits, knowing how it went for biblical people doesn't help, even knowing how God helped another doesn't help. Community love support. Yeah, community love support is important, but remember, like, if you see, and again, Elijah is a great example of that, Samus, and that is seeing how God treated Elijah during his worst moment in his life is such a critical understanding of that'll give truth to the fact of all the things you think about God are not true, right? All the things that the ways that you think that God is the enemy, and God is mad at you, and you know how he would treat somebody who is hardcore minister and then loses his mind and accuses God of stuff and just freaks out. You think that God's going to react one way, and you see how God reacted to Elijah, and it's not like that. I think it really does help. Yes, Danelle, it was a bad way to handle every situation. You're right. Shock says, I wish I was there so I could have just walked up and given you a hug. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Eileen. Much appreciated. Very, very, very kind. Yeah, Shock. I mean, I had people there that were like, you know, they would do that, but it was too much for them to handle. So what would happen, you know, like basically, I'm not going to paint you, Shock. So basically you would come to me and you'd be like, hey, you seem like you're going through a tough time. Can I let you know what, or can we talk about what's going on? Like, I'd let you know a little bit because I can't tell you the whole thing because a lot of it's secret. It's all behind closed doors, church stuff. And then, I'll put you in the shoes of one of my friends, a guy named Jason, who was at church, and he was like, I will come to your defense. I will be your guy. He came, he's like, I'm going to run to be on the board. I'm going to join the board. And that way, when I'm on there, I can defend you and I can come on there. I can see what's really happening behind closed doors, and I can be the one to help you out. And, and he comes on, he's on the board. He lasted 3 months, three board meetings before he was so angry and so hurt and so frustrated that he left the church. I faced it for 2.5 years, intensely for 1.5, and he lasted 3 months. Like I'm not saying that Shock, you wouldn't be nice to get a hug and stuff like that. What I'm saying is that the level of difficulty in that realm, like we were just talking about how, you know, Easter Sunday, Easter weekend is spiritually charged. Like the armies of hell were waging war, and you step in there and you're like, I'm gonna see what's happening, and he got absolutely annihilated. And he's a man of God. He's a good guy, good, strong, good family guy, and absolutely got wiped out. Yes, also hugs are good. Don't get me wrong, a hug is nice. And thank you, Eileen, for the 10. I appreciate that very, very much. That's super kind. That's true. Your body does change. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a long while before you can recover things, though. And that's assuming that you can get recovery and you're not facing it all the time. Art Pibble says, my pastor from a few years ago went through a similar experience, though less severe. Going back to the community, he was blessed with family friends in the church that told him that he was being treated was wrong, and it was okay for him to transfer to a different church, even though it meant that he left us. That's one of the hardest parts for me. Like, I don't quit, right? I don't have much going for me at the time, anyway. You know, but I've got I'm not going to quit. I won't quit. I will continue to go, and I will not stop, and that's just the way it is. And they it probably stayed, if I had looking back and if I was counseling me at the time, like I stayed too long. I went through too much. I didn't have that, what you had, like someone actually to come along and say, you're going through too much, right? You know what I mean? It's you can step away now. They're in the wrong. They're killing you. I didn't really have that. But yeah, I'm glad because you question everything, right? Like, should I be in ministry? Should I do anything? Am I done? Yeah. But that's the thing is as the pastor going through those meetings, my job is to guide and lead, right? It's there's a phrase that pastors often use. I don't know if you've heard it before, but it's sheep bite, right? If you're sitting around with a group of pastors and you're like, yeah, my church, blah, blah, blah. you'll hear someone say sheep bite. And what that basically means is that, we all get hurt by the church. Everybody does it. And it's just the way it is. And, I don't know the level of it. You just gotta, like, my job is to be here, be the shepherd, help out, defend the flock, preach well, be a good example, show what it's like to go through difficult times, and do it in such a way that people can see that God is working in me and God is holding me together. And that's my job. I didn't have anybody. That's one of the worst things about a Baptist church. The way the Baptist church are designed is that they don't have any kind of top-down people looking in like, hey, what's going on in there? If they go sideways, they can go fully sideways, and there's no one to stop them. You know what I mean? Chuck said, I was on the leadership team for ministry. The pastor that started it got thrown under the bus by the guy he brought on to help. All sorts of lies and such. It was basically the only one beside the pastor's wife that saw through it. I ended up losing all sorts of people I considered friends. At points, it made me feel like I was losing my mind. Then you get it, bro. Yeah, then you get it, bud. Yep. Hey, Wadu, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. I felt God did a work in my heart, and then he tested what he did in my heart. Yep, that's a very good way to put it. Yep. Like, you commit yourself to Jesus, and then he gives you a time of rest. Then you get a time of test. Then you get a time of rest. Then you get a time of test. Then you get a time of rest until you die. That's how it works. Old Smell says, when I was a kid, I was climbing some chairs and then saw my dad getting yelled at by some lady in his office looking through his office window. I remember that. I remember that day. So let me tell you that story. It's the same church. So it was my son's birthday. Okay, my son's birthday. It was a Sunday. We showed up, and I'm finished the service. Yay, amen. And I come out there, and they're like, can we meet you in your office? I'm like, who's we and why? Like, well, let us meet you in your office. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, sorry, family and everybody who I'm supposed to be talking to after service. I'm going to go sit in my office now because I don't know why. Yeah, it was your birthday. And I'm going to go sit there. Here we are. And then they come, and in comes the board chair, and in comes deacon, and in comes elder, and in comes, and at some point there was like 9 people in there, representatives from everyone. Like, we didn't have 9 people on the board. I'm like, why? Okay, fine. What are we doing here? And they're like, remember a few days, a while back where we did your 30-day evaluation or your 90-day or what was it? Your one year evaluation. Sorry. I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we're gonna go through it now. I'm like right now? right now? Like, out of nowhere? All right. And so we sat there, and they essentially, because of broken leadership, because of bad leadership practice, because of, obviously that's already wrong. They just had someone there that wanted to tear into me, that, found something that they didn't like about me. And they kind of used the evaluation as a launching off point, as a weapon to be able to pound on me, right? So when the little boy at the time, my son was probably 7, maybe 8, I don't know. Looking over the edge, what he sees is a group of like 9 people that are there, and one lady who's just absolutely laying into me because she, about something that was like, yeah, okay. It was something that I needed to work on. It was like the biggest thing I've ever had to work on in churches was always the same thing. It was connecting with people outside of ministry and being in their homes and stuff like that. I'm a worker, I'm a preacher, I'm a teacher, I'm a leadership development guy. That's what I do. And so therefore the struggle that I always have is, making time to just go and do the coffee thing and do the sit down thing and whatnot. And so just was hammering me. And so then then they're like, okay, thank you for the meeting. And they all get up and they leave. And I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm just wrecked. Like, that was awful. In bursts the boy, right? In comes the family. All right, where are we going? Are we going to do this for my birthday? And I'm like, just let's go. Be happy for child. Woohoo! And that was very typological, sir, of what it was like. and probably like for a lot of people who go through it, is that you get annihilated by abuser of whatever, and then you have to keep going with life because you got to pay the bills and you got responsibilities and you got to do for the kids, and you can't just always exist in miserable land. And so you make yourself keep going, and that act of making yourself keep going, stepping up one more time, becomes harder and harder and harder and harder and harder until you can't make yourself anymore. I still remember the day, and it happened I think twice, where I got to I did all the work on a Friday and I got everything ready for church. And when I tried to go to church on Sunday, my body wouldn't let me. I couldn't get out of bed. There's nothing left in the tank. All the whole let's go. Okay, let's keep going. Get some momentum and keep the snowball rolling. It's wasn't any left in the tank. It was embarrassing to have to call and be like, I'm sorry, I can't come to church today. I physically can't make my body do it. Shock says, I was also privy to information that the pastor didn't end up sharing more widely because he didn't want to cause more hurt. So not sure it was the right choice, but I also see the wisdom in not. Yeah, well, the problem is that it never goes the way you think it's going to go, right? Like in your mind, it's like, well, if I share this truth, then people will be like, oh, and then it'll be better. It never goes that way because Satan is amazingly creative. And somehow it just somehow that, you thought you were throwing water on the fire. Why is it gasoline? How did that happen? Right? It never goes that way. Don't get me wrong. What I went through wasn't as bad as what Pastor went through. Yeah, but still, you have perspective though, right? Yeah, you have a perspective, Shock. That's the whole point. True. You never have coffee with me. It's true. I never do. You're right, Zach. And what you're going to want to do with that information is you're going to want to contact the leadership of Taco, because I don't have a church right now. So you tell Taco, and what you say to Taco is, I've noticed that Pastor Al, or I guess XtianNinja at this point, is avoiding me. I've reached out, and he won't. So I'm assuming that he hates me because I'm so you're let's see. Well, you're not a woman. So therefore I can't hate you because you're a woman, and you're not black, so therefore I can't hate you because you're black. You are, what are you? I don't know. So you'll find a reason that I hate you that is like external or whatever. And then you'll say to them, I think it's because he's something-ist. And then the people of the leadership will go, oh, he's a something-ist? I didn't know that. And then they will have to have a meeting. So their meeting they will have together, they'll have like a bunch of people get together, but without me there, of course. They'll be like, oh, I heard from Zach that XtianNinja's been avoiding him because he hates blah blah people. And so therefore, that's a real issue. That's a sin issue. That's a Bible issue. So I think we should consider church discipline with him because he's but then somebody stands up and says, well, we should probably ask. And then I'll come to the meeting and they'll be like, so-and-so said you're a blankist. And I'll be like, what? What? And then they're like, okay, that doesn't sound right. No, I'm not that. And then you go, well, we've got people. So we went looking out. And so we asked people and we said, do you think that he's this? And then everybody else in the church said, no, but this one guy, he said you are. So we're going to look into it. So we're going to have another meeting. You come back next month and then we're going to have another meeting about that. And then that way you can completely derail all of Taco. You can derail all the future stuff. You can annihilate me, cause me and everybody else to be distracted, and it will completely paralyze the ministry that we're trying to do here. That's how you do it. Zafira, but you, sir, are also human, not Jesus or God. It's true. Amen, Zafira. Crispy says, my 2 cents doesn't really sound like a church had a proper biblical governance. They didn't. They didn't even have elders until the year I got there. Yeah, they didn't know what leadership was. You're right. And it shouldn't be a democracy. You're right. You're 100% right. The church is not a democracy. It's not. If everybody gets a voice, so does Satan, and that's not who you want having a voice. And many churches and hospitals are broken in some way. The leadership is taken away from where it should have been given to the administration. Yep, you're right, Pebble. You're absolutely right. I'll let the women speak for me. Yep. Ukulele says, why are you giving them instructions on how to abuse you now? Oh, dude, I'm just telling you, it's the way to go. And I honestly believe that Ukulele, it sneaks up. You don't think you're doing it. You're trying to help the church. You're trying to, give pastoral correction. You're trying to protect your church from, whatever. And so it starts, I think, in the heart of the other person as a way to help, and it ends up, what it is satanic. Yeah, Zafira and Zach. Well, if you go for coffee with Zach, Zafira, his job then is to pull you onto his side and to make it sure that you think by the end of that coffee that I'm a whateverist. And then he's got two people. And then you start thinking, yeah, I think he is. Jellybean says, were you that controversial of a preacher that you had to keep having meetings? No, it had nothing to do. I preached the Bible expositionally. That's it. That's all I did. It had nothing to do with my preaching. In fact, that was one of the problems that they had, Jellybeans, was the fact that I'm a good preacher who knows the Bible, and people were not only getting saved and getting baptized and joining the church, like all the ministry was right. I wasn't doing anything wrong. That's the thing. There was nothing to accuse me of. That's my point of talking about the Zach thing, is that it was fiction. And because of what Zafira was saying, right, the complete or is it Pibble, the lack of leadership health, it got completely sideways. I can't tell you how many meetings in a row it was, you've done nothing wrong. There's nothing, we have nothing against you, but, and off to the races. And then that one person, they would stop me on the side of the road. And I remember, because we would meet in a coffee shop, no, not a coffee shop, in a truck stop in the upstairs. And they would, like, afterwards, the person would come alongside me. Everybody else was gone. And they'd come alongside and they'd be like, don't get comfortable. You will not be working here next month. Right? And they did that for a year and a half. Thank you, Jelly Beans. Appreciate you. Ukulele, that church was like a one narcissistic family member who wants you to do things. They were even at your own party, or they will ruin the party. Or even at your own party, or they'll ruin the party, yeah. Zach's a Starbucks guy? Okay, then I am a whatever-ist against that. Starbucks, I don't like their coffee. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm crazy, but I do not like Starbucks coffee. And if there's one thing you should like there, is their coffee. I like peppermint hot chocolate, but I don't like their coffee. Dragon Daddy Bear, church may not be a democracy, but that's why Ninja is having problems with his new ministry. It's run by a bunch of old guys. It's not supposed to be a democracy, but the shepherds tend his flock who knew that they are, and their thoughts. What? Let me try that again, Dragon Daddy Bear. I missed that. 1 second. Church may not be a democracy, but that's also why Ninja is having problems with the new ministry. It's run by a bunch of old guys, not supposed to be a democracy, but the shepherd who tend to his flock know who they are and their thoughts. Yes, you're right. You should be in touch with folks. If that's what you mean, then yes. Question of the day today. I don't know. Oh, does somebody question of the day? Yeah, I don't know when I did the right thing, but I can't remember a time when I did the right thing. DJ, I don't know when I did the right thing, though. I can't remember when I did the right thing. I'm sure you do the right thing, but sometimes maybe nobody's in the way of you doing it. Bible is pretty controversial. It is. You're right, Beardsley. But at the same time, nobody had a problem with my preaching. And because I preached the Bible, like legit, I let the Bible defend the Bible. Every time anybody argued with me, they were never arguing with me. They were always arguing with the Bible. And I'm like, well, I didn't say that. The Bible did. Why are you yelling at me? I've also seen a reverse where a church was part of a new pastor come in and making preaching things that were wrong, causing strife, changing miniatures that were going so well that they felt ministries, I assume. And the church wouldn't do anything but except talk about how bad it was. Yeah, you got to be careful with any kind of leadership stuff. My dad is as close to Jesus as if Jesus watched anime. Dude, Jesus does watch anime. Have you know? He's omniscient. He's seen it all. So there. Like my pastor's son, he had a church split because he preached the Bible. Yep. People hate the Bible, man. People who are in sin hate the Bible. That's just the way it is. If you're in sin, you'll avoid the Bible. Because it makes you feel bad. Starbucks is the only S-tier coffee. Oh, so not true. So not true. Tim Hortons Dark Roast is probably top tier for me. Tim Hortons Dark Roast. Number 1. I'm an Apple fanboy. Ugh. Starbucks and Apple, you're so basic, Zach. You're such a basic. Good golly. You wear yoga pants and Uggs too? best peep flavor. Peeps are I like sugar. Don't get me wrong. I like sugar, but dang, peeps are really something. Okay, is it 2:30? Holy crap. Okay, you guys want to do actual Devo now? We managed to. Ooh, that was a lot. I didn't expect to talk about all that, but okay, let's do a Devo. It might apply to what we were talking about. You never know. You never know. I can neither confirm nor deny that I'm made out of plastic. Found a Dr. Pepper flavor that I like. Oh, Dr. Plepper flavored anything is really good. I'm all about the Dr. Pepper flavored things. That's such a good flavor. I don't know what it is, but it's the best pop. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason I don't drink Dr. Pepper is because it's so much caffeine, man. Like it's so much. I never have it during. You shouldn't drink pop in the morning, obviously. So, and I can't drink it for after supper because that would keep me up all night. But Dr. Pepper's really good. You thought that was the Devo? No, that was the pre-talk. Just chatting with about a question. DJ is exercising the right thing, filling out applications for apartments, doing the right thing, knowing wasting my life on depression is not doing the right thing. Yes, I mean it is. I think well, let's tell you what, DJ. Let's do the Devo before we do the application, shall we? So, quick evaluation of this. This tastes good in the mouth and not good after it's swallowed. This is not great. In fact, I'm not going to finish this. I'm going to go get a different flavor because yuck. All right. You're only drinking coffee in the morning. Why can't you have a soda? I don't put sugar in my soda. Or sugar. I don't put sugar in my soda either. I don't put sugar in my coffee. It's the sugar and extra caffeine spike plus a bunch of dyes plus carbonation, which isn't good for your bones. Plus, pop is not good for you. Period. Coffee? You can make an argument that coffee actually has benefits for you. It's not bad for you. Coffee's not bad for you. Too much coffee is bad for you, but too much of anything is bad for you. Too much water is bad for you. That's why it's called too much. You put coffee in your sugar, just a bowl of sugar, and then you're like, bloop. Eat it with a spoon? Yeah. Yeah, that would be a serious issue. I mean, I like coffee. I mean, it's a great, if a good coffee is good, that's what I would say. Okay, let's do the Devo, and then we'll get in. We'll see where it goes. So last time we were here, we talked about Judges 6, which was Midian oppressing Israel. If you remember, if you weren't here, it basically was that Midian was the bad guys. They came in, and not only were they like causing problems, but they would do like, remember the movie Ants, where the ants would like gather all their food, and then the grasshoppers would come in and eat it all. Well, that's what would happen. The Midianites would come in and just steal all the food and all the crops and all the animals, and then take them away. And it was for like 8 years that they did that. And so this is, now we're getting to the call of Gideon. So here's the call of Gideon. But let me pray before we do that, and then we'll jump into it. God, thank you for your presence in our lives and that you give us the word to guide us, mature people to help us, Christians that are going through similar stuff to be able to walk alongside us. Thank you for the community of believers, for giving us a gift, a spiritual gift that we can serve your church with, that we can know you. Thank you for giving us a new conscience, for cleaning us up. It is amazing that you would engage with us because we are always pointed the wrong direction, and yet you continuously pull us back to you. Thank you for being a good father and a good friend and a wonderful savior. We turn our attention to your word now. Help it be meaningful and helpful and glorifying to you. Amen. All right. Yeah. I know a lot of people that drink only decaf just because they, because of the caffeine thing, but they like coffee. Now the angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth at Ophrah. Oprah? Sure. I would say Ophrah, but which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite while his son Gideon was out beating the wine press to hide it from the Midianites, right? So there's Gideon, and he's in a wine press, which is not where you thresh what you do is you thresh the grain out in the open so that the wind takes away the all the stuff you don't want. But he's sitting in a wine press, which is where you're not where you're supposed to be, because he doesn't want the Midianites to come and take it away, because that's what they would do. Every time they'd see the food, they'd take it away. And so he's there hiding. And verse 12, the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." Okay. That's an interesting introduction. And obviously every preacher, every time you hear this, is like, that's such an ironic thing. God is not talking to him about his present, he's talking to him about his future. Okay? That's the general line of that, is that God is like, wow, he's hiding in a wine press, and he's terrified, and God introduces, like, God's angel comes and says, "Hi, mighty man of valor." Yes, he must have. I can only assume yes, he did. Now, let's keep going, and I want you to see that maybe it's not that God is just calling out the future, but that he's the most valorous one there. Okay? And I'll make an argument for it, is that he might not be a mighty man of valor compared to everybody, but compared to everyone else, he's the mightiest, even though he's hiding. So let's just talk about that. It says, and Gideon said to him, "Please, my Lord, if the Lord is with us, then why has all this happened to us? And where are all his wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of Midian." If you remember every single story of Judges, it's always that Israel lost their judge and then forgot about God, like literally did not remember him, turned over to idols, was completely just sideways. Egypt didn't exist, and Moses didn't exist, and Joshua didn't exist. They just did whatever they wanted, because essentially they had no connection to the past and no remembrance of it. Gideon, on the other hand, when the angel, who he doesn't know is an angel, comes at him and says, "Mighty man of valor," he's like, "Listen, if you say the Lord is with me, how can the Lord be with me if, I know the story of Egypt, and I know the story of our deliverance, and I know that God has done this, and I know that God brings blessing, and I know that God takes care of his people. If that's true, which I think it is, then where is he? Obviously, God has forsaken us. He can do all these things. I believe he can do these things, but he must have left us behind." Right? 3 days to forget? Yeah, that afternoon. I think it's amazing that he knew the story, right? So there's Gideon. He's scared. He's under attack. He is he doesn't know what's about to happen, and he's probably hungry. We learn later he's in like the smallest of the tribes, the smallest of the family. Like he is like under duress, but somehow he still knows the stories. He still thinks about Moses. He still contemplates and understands God's abilities. I think that's where my argument goes for this. He is the mightiest man of valor because he might be the only one that's actually listening. When I think back to the story of Moses, for example, Noah wasn't the best person on earth because he was perfect. He was the most righteous on a world that was completely and totally only thinking about sin all the time, right? So he was just less horrible. Like the only one listening. Like God broadcast out to the world, hey, I'm going to send a flood. The only one that was tuned into the radio was him. May have come through with static, but it was Noah, and God allowed Noah to be saved. It wasn't because he did anything good. It's because he was the only one listening. I think this is probably similar in that Gideon was the only one that remembered any of the stories. But, you know, kudos to their fathers who told them the story. So something was happening in that family, so that's good. And the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours, right? This might of yours. So what's his might? He was hiding while beating out wheat, but was that cowardice or was that brave just not giving up on the wheat completely? They'd caught him at what? Well, I mean, he would have starved. That's the issue, right? It's not, I don't know how brave it was. He didn't have a choice. That this was food. If he didn't do it, he would starve to death. So he had to do it. You had to do it somewhere. So, you know, he was trying to do it in such a way that he was not getting in trouble. So he had a bit of a smarts to be able to go, what if I did it over here? And they didn't be able to see it, right? So it's go in this might of yours. So what is his might? The might, I believe, is the fact that he knows God's wonderful deeds. He recognizes that God has power and that God is good and God has delivered in the past. What he doesn't understand is where is God now? Like he doesn't get the fact that the entirety of Israel has turned their back on him, that all of the God's people forgot him, that like, in fact, if you look later, you'll see that his family, his dad actually has an Asherah pole and like a Baal, another, you know, like he worships idols. His dad does. And so therefore it's like, he doesn't come from a family that is like good. Hey, BC, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. He didn't come from a good family. He comes from a pagan family, like one who is worshiping idols. And yet his might is in the fact that I think he knows the story somehow. I don't know how, but he does. Hey, Fortress, good to see you, man. So go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Did I not send you? And he said to him, please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I'm the least in my father's house. Right? Go pie. How I think this question sounds a lot like the question that Mary asked to the angel when she said that you will bear a son. To Zechariah, he's like, that can't happen. You're crazy. And then he had a lack of faith that God would either do it or could do it. He mocked even the idea. Mary goes, how's this gonna work? Like, I'm not saying you can't. I just don't know how this is gonna work. What am I supposed to be doing here? Because I know you don't want me to cheat on my betrothed, and I know that I'm not married to him yet. So how is this gonna work? I think this is very similar in that Gideon is like, okay, so how am I supposed to save Israel? Right? I'm too little and I'm too small and I'm too weak and I'm not even the most powerful person like in my family, let alone anywhere else. It wasn't, I can't do this. It wasn't, God, this is impossible. God, you're crazy. It was, how? Right? This is what's standing in my way. I'm not strong enough to do this. The Lord said to him, but I will be with you. Which is, again, it echoes exactly what the angel said to Mary, right? That I will be with you. I will come upon you. And you shall strike the Midians as one man. And he said to him, if I now have found favor in your eyes, show me a sign that it is you who speak to me, God, right? Please do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And he said, I will stay and return. There's something amazing about that. So we just talked about how miserable things can get, how difficult things can get, right? So consider this. Put yourself in Gideon's shoes. You're sitting at home, or you're wherever you are, and things suck. Life is hard. You are hungry. You are sad. Your family doesn't get it. You feel like God is like disappeared on you, and you feel pretty miserable about it. And you go and you hear some guy go, hey, you're a Christian. You have victory in Jesus. And you're like, and your response to that is either going to be, you're crazy, Jesus has forgotten me, God can't do that, clearly he's not powerful enough, or it's going to be, yeah, I know God exists and I know God is powerful, I know Jesus loves me, but I don't see it. I don't know how you can say that because I don't see it. I don't know what I did wrong, but he's, even though he could do it, he's not. So I don't know what's up, right? So that's the faith. That there's faith in that, in going, I know God has power. I know God has strength. I know God is good. I know God delivers people. I know that he does that. I just don't know why he's not doing it for me. I don't know what I did. I don't know what we did, right? What's going on? There is faith in that. I think we are allowed to have that kind of doubt, that fear, that like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I did. I know God is good though. And I know that God is powerful. There's a big difference between God doesn't love me, God is against me, God doesn't keep his promises, God is not powerful, and God is good, God loves me, God is powerful, and I don't know what's happening, right? I don't know why this is happening. That's the number one thing. So if you're there, that's a good thing. That's even just being like, I have no idea what's happening, but I know God is good. And then we were talking about that earlier, right? That intellectual, I get it. There's something in my head that is faith. I understand intellectually who God is, right? And then there's something, the next thing that's amazing is that like, you like, okay, no, go get better, right? Go fix your depression. Go and, go find a friend. Go get over your PTSD. Go get over your social anxiety. Go like, what? No, what? I can't do. That's not possible, right? Go get over this spiritual funk you're in. And I think the answer that happened isn't that, God's going to work a miracle. It's going to be amazing. Don't worry, you can do it. It's listen, if you listen to me and you follow along with what I'm going to say, I can work with what you've got. The little bit that you have, I can do it. God has victory. God can do amazing things through not very much. And the next part I think is amazing because it shows God's heart, right? Gideon doesn't go, okay, let's go. He goes, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. If you are legit, right? If you're serious that God is with me, God will help me, God's on my side, there is deliverance to come, and I can help people even though I'm not very powerful and I got issues. If that's what you're saying, I don't believe you. But I'll tell you what, I will give you the benefit of the doubt, Angel. So if you are who you say you are, stay there. God, just wait. Can you imagine saying to God, wait, and then you turn your back on God and you leave, telling God to stay put, right? That is so insanely arrogant and wild and unbelievable, right? You don't get, like, who gets to say to God, wait, I'm not doing that right now. I don't really believe you. You can just hold on until I'm ready for you and you can prove yourself to me. Right? That doesn't happen. You don't see that very often. And yet I think God is so gracious to those who are in pain and in fear, under just difficult circumstances, that when we're like, I don't feel like it today, I don't feel good today, I don't feel like I have victory and I don't understand what's happening and I feel crappy. God, I don't feel like it today. God doesn't answer with, well, too bad, right? I'm God. What, you don't believe me? What, you're not faith? God actually goes, yeah, all right. You know what? Because you're not saved by how much you can suck it up. You're saved by whether or not you believe God. What he didn't do was say, I don't believe you, get lost. What he said was, I don't know how I'm going to believe you if you're real, then I'm going to go, let me go get something so that I can check, right? But how can I know that I'm not just making this up and it isn't actually your will? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. How can I know that this isn't just someone setting me up? Several times in the Old Testament where I've thought, did he really just say that to God? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. That's all too familiar. Me, this is impossible. God, not for me. Me, but how do I know it'll happen? God said, because I said. Me, are you sure? Just hold it. Yeah, but the end of that conversation is, well, then hold on. I'll come do it when I'm darn well good and ready. I think of often of that story. I talked about it earlier, and that story from Elijah's life where he, you know what, I'm going to turn there just for kicks and giggles. Elijah breakdown Jezebel. I can't remember where it is. I think it's 1 Kings 19. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so let's just put a pin in Gideon for a minute, and we'll come to what I've been talking about earlier. And that is verse 19. Ahab told Jezebel, so look, just back up. Notice this. The last thing, the story is the story of the prophets of Baal defeated on Mount Carmel. Like one of the most powerful stories in Scripture. You know, there's lightning, there's thunder, there's flame, there's mocking of other gods. There's all, like, it's a huge story. The next thing you see after, you know, the reign is Ahab told Jezebel, King Ahab, which is the king, told Jezebel, which is the queen, that all that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. And then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, so may the gods do to me and more also if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow. In other words, Jezebel, who is like the worst, she's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you tomorrow. This man who just had this massive victory over hundreds of prophets of Baal, saw God's hand at work, literally burn up like everything. Like, it was amazing. He's scared. This is what happens a lot of times after victory. If you've experienced this, what'll happen is you'll go through a really good time. You'll have a lot going on. It'd be really, really positive. Say, go through the holidays or go through a big work event or go through a big vacation or whatever. At the end of it, you'll go through something called adrenal letdown. Or you'll go through a time where your body kind of falls apart because you were using all your resources during the fun thing or during the good thing. And this is exactly what happens to Elijah, is that he doesn't have anything left in the tank. He is done. And all of a sudden he's scared. He doesn't know what to do. He runs for his life. He goes to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree. He leaves. He walks for a day. He's like, I'm done. I don't even want anybody with me. He goes and he hides by himself, depressed out of his socks. He's just so depressed. Right? Just need a vacation from my vacation. True enough. Right? And this is where brooms come from. Exactly. That's how people. That's how Old Testament. That's how Catholics and whatnot from the old times used to get all kinds of superstition. Anyway, you should look up the history, the origin of the word hocus pocus. It's really interesting. Did you know people used to steal the communion bread from the church so they could bury it in their yards so that they can have a better crop because they thought the communion bread was magic? Hocus pocus is actually the beginning of the ceremony for mass. So they thought it was magic words. Anyway. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came down and sat under a broom tree. Nope, communion bread is not magic. Maybe the wafers are, but they're gross. And he asked that he might die, saying, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I'm no better than my father's. Right? Yeah. Yep, that's it, Ransom, exactly. Right? I'm done and I want to die. This man is literally suicidal, right? He's terrified, he's alone, he's suicidal, and he just looked at God, and again, we just said, well, the things you can say to God, right? I'm done, right? Kill me. The stories help me in so many ways, not because Elijah being scared after such an obvious act of God, but with the offering at the altar. God has pointed out to me in times when I think things are getting more impossible, that things like when God told Elijah to have them pour more water over the offering. It didn't have any effect on God's ability to do what he was going to do. Yep, very, very true. I like that. That's really cool, Shock. All right, so, and he lay down and slept under a broom tree. Okay. And behold, an angel touched him and said, arise and eat. What is God's response? I'm going to sit down because I've been standing for like 2 hours. What's God's response to running scared from a pagan into the desert by himself to tell God he wants to die now and he quits his job as prophet? What's God's response? A nap and a snack. Yep. I know you guys have heard me say this before, but it's true. A nap and a snack. Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was his head a cake baked in hot stones and a jar of water. Thank you, Miss Jelly Beans. Yeah. A jar of water. And he ate and he drank and he lay down again. So what does God do the next? After the nap and the snack? Does he start the lecture? No. No. He gives him another nap and another snack. There is an extended period, and we often read the Bible way too fast. Ninja getting a chair. We read the Bible way too fast. We like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. This is a solid 24-hour, period where he comes and he lies down. Now imagine, like, go to your room right now and lie down and stay there for 24 straight hours. How long does that feel, right? And then wake up, have breakfast, and then go lie down and stay there for 24 more hours, or like a long sleep, right? Like it's a really long, protracted amount of time. Like, it doesn't happen in a moment. It takes so long to get through this, and he's in such pain and misery and fear. It takes some really long time just to recover to the point where he can hear God again, because he's just so miserable. And God gives him a nap and a snack twice. Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. He arose and ate and drank, and went in the strength of God, the strength of that food, 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the Mount of God. So he goes for and has a spiritual encounter. That's what he does. He's like, okay, he's been fed. God says, okay, here's a little bit of rest. Here's a little bit of time to go and come meet me where I am, right? And he goes to Horeb, which is the Mount Sinai where Moses gave the law, and he goes there and he meets God. I feel like people would think but are you hyper depressed and on the edge of suicide? Keep in mind, he's not in a good place. So there he came to a cave and lodged in it, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, and he said to him, what are you doing here, Elijah? This is where the conversation starts. And I love that God starts with a question, because God knows, but this is good counseling technique, right? He said, okay, what are we doing here? What's going on, man? And Elijah responds with, I've been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. And even I only am left, and they seek my life to take it away. So there's a lot going on in here that isn't true, right? I've been very jealous for the Lord. In other words, I worked for you really hard. The God of angel armies, God of hosts, the God who has access to all the armies of heaven. I have worked for him very hard. And the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant. All of them, every single person in all of Israel. Nobody's great. Nobody likes you. I'm the only one who's even bothered to follow you ever again. All of the prophets are dead. No pastors are any good. No ministers are any good. No Christians are any good. I'm the only good Christian in the whole world. And the God of angel armies has forsaken me. And that's it. And I just want to die. Right? That's what he just said. Right? Have you ever had a tantrum to God? Have you ever had anybody tantrum on you? This was a tantrum. Full on. And God handled it so well, right? You think that it would be, no. And he said, go out and stand by the mount, stand on the mount before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by. It's easy to feel alone even when, if the reality of the majority of people are against us. There are those who aren't, but we can't see that. Well, that's what I was saying before, and this is why I like this story, because it informs very much so what happens in depression, and that is he runs away, he gets alone. his brain is chock full of lies. He feels like he's the only one suffering. Nobody else understands. Nobody knows what he's going through. Nobody else can deal with it. If he should just die to get over with all this problems. That's what he's going through, right? Talking to God himself, and he just like, my whole brain, all it says to me is, everything is awful. I'm alone. That's what he's going through. That's depression. Hardcore depression. And he said, go out and stand by the mount before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke it to pieces before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. What you see, and again, don't read it too fast. Super ultra depressed guy, right? Has just said to God, you have angel armies, you're not taking care of me. I'm doing all the work, and you've sent no help. I've been absolutely doing a great job, and nobody else in the entire world is listening to me, and I'm only telling the truth. And all of everybody, including Israel, wants to kill me. All your people even want to kill me. Like, none of that was true. God sends very obvious God things his way, right? There was earthquakes and thunder and lightning and rocks and all kinds of stuff, so that there was no uncertain terms that God was there. God was in his life. God had shown up. Okay, this is what we need to see, that God shows up in massive form, right? Like, he got a hold of his heart. And after the fire was the sound of a low whisper, and when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloak and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? Same question, right? Same question. So put yourself in Elijah's position. You just tell God, and you know like that because you're a prophet of God and been one for a really long time. You know how God thinks. You know the word. You know what he just did like 3 days ago, right? Like you know, and you've just completely accused God of all kinds of stuff and just like dumped so much on him that is not his fault. And then the entire place that you're in shakes and thunders and earthquake and fire, like that would be scary and kind of intense, right? And the same exact question after all this comes by, what are you doing here? What do you think your answer should be or would be? You'd think you would have changed your tone. Right? It should be like, yeah, I should probably reevaluate what I've been saying. He doesn't. Said, I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword, and I am left, and they seek my life. Take it away. It says exactly the same thing. No change. The depression and the fear and all that has taken such hold of his heart that the presence of God shaking the mountain underneath his feet didn't change it. That's how settled in it was. And I'm sure that many of you have felt that way. If you've ever felt true mental illness, the grip of mental illness, that how powerful it is, right? That it's not just go have a nice meal, go get some counseling, go do some, do an exercise and it'll be all better. You can have a massive like victory or do wonderful things or have a great day, and the next day you're just absolutely back in the place you were, because it's a mental illness. You can just make it go away. And the Lord said to him, go return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when you arrive there you shall anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. God doesn't disqualify him because of his depression. God doesn't disqualify him because of all the issues that he has, right? What he does is he says, I'm going to send you, here's your job. Keep doing your job. I'm going to send you help. Give me someone to walk along with you that you can work with, and then you can move on with your life. You're not done. I've still got work for you to do, but I'm going to take care of you, and you're going to be walking with someone. I'm going to show you how many people that I have in this world that still know what you're going through and still love me and still love you. Let me introduce you to them, right? And then he does. Hi, Shock. Hi, Xanadu. But back to Judges 6, right? So we just talked about this. He's utterly spent. He's wrecked. He doesn't know what to do with himself, and he tests God. He's like, just stay there, God. Doing exactly what, exactly what Elijah did. So Gideon went to his house and prepared a young goat and unleavened cakes and ephah of flour. The meat he put under a basket, and the broth he put in a pot, and he brought them and hid it and put them under the terebinth and presented it to them and presented them. And the angel of God said to him, take the meat and the unleavened cakes and put them on this rock and pour the broth over them. And he did so. And the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of the staff that was in his hand and touched the meat and the unleavened cakes, and a fire sprang up from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened cakes. And the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. What you see there is an offering, right? He says, okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to bring you this. And he makes an offering, and probably one of the first, if not the first offering that has been made to God, definitely within his home, in generations, possibly 1 or 2 generations. His dad worships the wrong god and whatnot, doesn't have an altar kind of thing. Like it's a mess. And so therefore this might be the very first true offering to the Lord that has happened purely to God, and is done by Gideon after an encounter with God, giving of the food. Now keep in mind, this is sacrificial, right? Well, what's happening in Israel right now? They're all starving because Midian took all their food. What does he offer? He offers one of his lamb, one of his goats, like one of his food, and then more of his food, and then pours the food out on the ground and it disappears. Gone. You'd think that would be, we're starving and God took, we're starving and God took soup from us. Like, that's just so mean. It was not. It was a way of Gideon saying, I trust you. I'm giving to you that which is most important to me. And God going, let me show you what I've got so I can show to you that that we're going to be working on this together. Hey, North Hill's coming in. Hello, North Hill. Good to see you, my friend. What is happening, my dude? What have you been up to? Yo, Crush. How are you? What's up? What were you up to in your stream? We're talking about, we're doing, boy, are we talking a lot. We're talking a lot. We covered church abuse and all kinds of mental health issues, and we jumped into Gideon. Now we're talking about Elijah, and now we're back in Gideon. It's a whole thing. What are you doing? Hey, game. How you doing? Ephesians 3, then Moanbazu. He will now Google what that is to feign that he knows so he can have conversation. Moanbazu. What? Nope. Wrong thing. Moanbazu. B-A-Z-O-U. I don't have the word. That word is not in my dictionary. Monbazu, the game. Oh, it's a game with the cars and the zooming and whatnot. Cool. All right. Now I'm all caught up. Welcome to ADHD Bible Study. Verse of the day today is Genesis to Revelation. And other stuff. And other extra biblical texts. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool, dude. Can we get a shout out? I don't know if anybody can shout him out. Maybe I'll have to do it. There you go. No, we didn't do it. S-O North Hill Live. Go. Cool. Ephesians chapter 3, then Monzu update. No idea what's in it. Let's find out. Cool, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping off your crowd. Welcome. You all know who I am, I'm sure, because we're all one big happy Christian streamer family. But yeah. Glad you're here. Go follow North Hill. He does some cool stuff. He's a different vibe than me. A totally different vibe than me. Different than what you're gonna find in other streamers. And like he's got his own thing going on. So he's worth following when he's doing stuff. So yeah, give him a follow. All right, let's wrap up. Just simply to say, Then Gideon perceived that he was the angel of the Lord, obviously because he did a miracle. Alas, O Lord God, for now I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face, because he thinks he's going to die, because that's, But the Lord said, peace be with you, don't fear, you're not going to die. Then Gideon built an altar to the Lord and called it, the Lord is peace. To this day it stands at Ophrah, which belongs to the Abiezrites. Let's just stop there and just kind of say this. We've covered a lot today. And it's like, I don't want to just try to draw some kind of simple application, right? And that is simply to say that we're all going through a lot. Like, I think we've all been through a lot, and we're all going through a lot. There's not one of us here that hasn't faced opposition, spiritual opposition, oppression, abuse, anger, difficulty, mental health issues. I mean, the reason we're here is for a reason. That's why we're on Twitch. And it can get into our head, as I said before, that we should be alone. We're not. We shouldn't be alone. There are people out there that know us and love us, and that we can talk to. That God is against us, or God is mad at us, or God is impatient with us, or that our faithlessness is causing him to punish us more. We don't see that in Scripture. That's not what we see. God is patient, God is good, God is kind, God is loving. God is one who will wait on us, which is bizarre. And you've got a community here, a bunch of people that are like here, me, for example, and other people that care about you specifically. We know your name. We see your name all the time, right? We see your name in other people's chats. We see your name in mine, and we see your name online, and we care about you distinctly. Like, we're like, we think you're great. And there are a lot of really nice people out there that have been through a lot. Like, you're gonna stumble across some folks in here that are very mature, and they've been through a lot of stuff, and they're not gonna hurt your feelings. They're not gonna give you simple answers and whatnot. Like, yeah, there are gonna be some people who try to, because they think that, throwing down a Bible verse is gonna solve everybody's problems. But they're more often than not in the community that I have, is that we have people who know what it's like to go through some difficult stuff, and just want to walk with you in it. Yeah, maybe they're experts in a few different things, but they're willing to walk. So don't keep it to yourself. If I could say anything, don't keep it to yourself, right? Share it in the prayer request on Discord. Share it with a friend. Share it on different streams. Tell folks that you need prayer. Like, open up your mouth and open up your heart. And I know that it's easy to start thinking that, like, I'm by myself. But if there's somebody that in IRL, in your world around you right now, that you can sit across from and have breakfast with, or have lunch with, or whatever, and have coffee, if they love you, love Jesus, and know the Bible, and they've been through some stuff, take the risk to have a conversation with them. Yeah, I just shared with you for an hour all the ways that people in my previous church beat the ever-loving snot out of me because it was awful, right? But it's worth it if you find that right person, and if you're able to open up your heart to them, and you find a kindred spirit, whether it be online or through video chat or face to face. It'll change your whole life, change your outlook, change your entire day. It's so worth it. You shouldn't do this alone. You can't do it alone. You need people, right? Not just you and God. It's you, God, and others. And if you want to chat with me, and you want to do DM stuff, or you want to whatever, I'm willing to try. I'd love to chat with you. Let me pray, and then we'll do something else. God, thank you for your love and for your care, for your grace and for your peace, for the Holy Spirit within, for the conviction from sin, but also with your amazing encouragement and your long-suffering patience. You're a God who is full of love, slow to anger, and that's amazing, because we are not like that, and we are so forgetful. Thank you for being one who doesn't forget, and thank you for being so patient with people who are going through a hard time, people who even in our hard times say really not great things to you. And yet you're still so good to us. You're such a good Father. I pray for anybody who's listening, that if they're going through a tough time and they feel alone, that you'd show them the right name to share with, to give them the person to talk to. Because it's your will that we might be able to not only talk to you and ask you to, you to help us with our burdens, but that we would bear each other's burdens. And that our prayers for each other, they're what have power. You've chosen to work through us. That's amazing. In Jesus' name, amen.
The question of the day.
For what it's worth, the question of the day, if you want to continue to talk or chat or whatever, is: have you ever done the right thing, even when you knew it was going to get you in trouble, even when you knew it was going to be a problem? You think of Gideon, who, you know, is stepping out there, right? You've been afraid to do the right thing, but did it anyway. He was afraid. He was scared of the Midianites and scared of what was going to happen, but he continued in little steps to obey God, right? He's just like, okay, fine. I will continue the conversation one more time. I will go get the soup and see what happens. Elijah had his tantrum and flipped out and whatnot, but then he went and he moved forward. He went to Horeb, and then he went and he talked to the king, and like he just kept going, kept doing the right thing, even though it was hard. Him specifically, you know, standing against 700 priests and Jezebel and whatnot. Have you ever been afraid to do the right thing but did it anyway? And what happened? Nurse nerd in the Christian family. I'm the weird cousin no one talks about. Yeah, you and me both. Hi, cool girl. I think of doing the right, for me, again, I talked about it before, but sticking where I shouldn't, you know, hard to stay. Probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. Continuing to be in a place that was really hard to be at for an extended period of time. And what happened was that I believe that God took me through it, taught me a lot through it, but then at the end, like this ministry I have now is a result of the fact that I went through it. You know what I mean? I didn't quit. I didn't stop. I went through it. And I believe that God has honored that, at least the stick-to-itiveness, regardless of all the misery that happened in between and all the ways I got it wrong, with being able to be with you. I think you guys are God's gift to me for helping me recover from all that misery and being part of something that is so unique because of all that. I believe that with all my heart. Hi, Jovi. So the question to you is, like, have you ever been afraid to do the right thing, whether it be, you know, confront someone or step out into doing something or give something back that you stole, or, you know, whatever that you had to, that was really going to be hard, but you did it anyway? And what happened? Well, you answer that. I'm going to eat a granola bar. And if there's nobody that wants to answer because we used up all our conversation today, we'll jump into Scarlet Nexus. How's that sound? That's such a good game. Holy moly, I'm really enjoying that. The combat's fun. But the story's really good too. I hate how small granola bars are. I only want to eat 3. Dude, I always eat 3. What do you think I want to eat 3? Just eat 3. Maybe diet advice isn't what I should be giving out, though. Eileen says, I left an abusive relationship of 12 years, ran away with no money, no clothes, not knowing anyone where I was going. But the things that played out, truly believe God was watching out for me. That's hard, man. Leaving an abusive relationship of that long is hard because everything's tied together, and you know, there's a level of, you still want the best for the person somehow, but at the same time, you know that it hurts. and where are you going to go, and how's it going to work financially, and how's it going to work bill wise, and what if they come, what if they, it's going to be embarrassing, and it's going to be, like there's going to be people that are misunderstand, and then they're going to lie about you behind your back, and you're not there to control it, and then you're going to, like, what do you, so it's, yes, it's just scary stuff, man. So Eileen, you've got my respect. That's amazing. That's really hard to do. Really, really hard to do. You took a break to play more Final Fantasy 14. Did you really? Man, even today people are talking about Final Fantasy 7 as like the game that everybody needs to play. I've never played a Final Fantasy, but apparently it's the way to go. And people like it. Obviously people like it. I'm not gonna diss it anymore because I didn't think I'd ever like JRPGs, and I said I'd never play games that required, this much brain power. But hey, I've really been enjoying it, even though it has a lot of details. Shock says, I'd like to say that the situation I mentioned earlier with the pastor, but not sure if I did the right thing despite fear, or because I was stubborn and upset that people were being dumb. I mean, why not both? Why not both? Chovy, 1 for me, 2 for me still, and 3 for reasons. Just because you can't have 2 of something. Exactly, right? It's a Bible number. It's 3, 7. You're lucky I'm not eating 40 of them, okay? Actually, well, there's a granola bar called Sweet and Salty by Nature Valley. I can't stop eating them. I had to stop buying them because I was like, I would eat 6, 7, 8 at a time because they were so good. They were like the best. They were like the best candy bar I've ever had, but I couldn't stop eating them. I had to like literally just keep them out of the house. Cool Girl said, I told off the father of my daughter. He had no right of wanting to take her to a family thing when I didn't know them, and I was told I was toxic, petty, selfish, and that it wasn't right of me to do, but I was only making a decision for what I think was best, since I don't want her around people I didn't know because I was afraid of letting her be near others I didn't know. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much investment that guy has, but from what I remember from the story, he hasn't exactly been there for you, right? So coming in after that and parading the baby around that's just, yeah. Although it's got to be, because I don't know how the laws work, but still his kid kind of thing and blah blah blah. So, but that would have been really, really hard. That'd been really, really hard. And yeah, you get called names and whatnot, but that's rough. Well, good for you, Cool Girl. I mean, who's gonna come to the defense of the baby other than you, right? Like, hopefully your mom, but that's rough. That's tough, Cool Girl. Good job. Good job. Well done. If you love JRPGs, I don't love them. I've only played 1. I said I never would, and I'm enjoying 1. Let's calm down, okay? FF7 is one of the best. I'm told, yes. But the remake is pretty good too if you like modern action RPG stuff. I wouldn't even try to play the old style one. Like, I learned my lesson when it came to Kingdom Hearts. I started at Kingdom Hearts 1 because I thought that's what you should do, and I hated the game, and it soiled me for all other Kingdom Hearts. I don't like Kingdom Hearts games now because I played the first half of the first one, and I'm like, I hate them. I think they're terrible, and I don't want to play them anymore. So I don't want to start old. I would only play the remake. Hey, Zach. Question of the day today. Have you ever been afraid to do the right thing, but did it anyway? And what happened? Gurkish Jail said, I left my favorite YouTuber's Twitch stream because he got really mad at me for asking questions. He didn't want backseat gaming, which I didn't think I was doing. Man hates me now. Aw. Like, I love backseat gaming. Here's the thing about backseat gaming, okay? So if you're spoiling things in the future, right? Oh, this is such a cool part because blank is about to happen, and like it ruins like the moment, or you're like, if you do this thing, it'll you'll be able to skip this whole section or what, I don't know, like just kind of ruining stuff, then that's not fun. But talking about stuff and talking about the game and being like, you should try this or you should try that, that's part of the fun of being online. I don't know, for me anyway. I like backseat gaming. But that sucks. Samus said, I guess mine is moving my channel towards Christian and praying for my chat. Obviously a good thing, but yeah, it's scary. I've never not done that. I mean, granted, I've come from a very different perspective, but making the change, especially if you're in growth mode or you're trying to figure out your, you feel like you've gotten a little bit of traction and then changing, that is very scary. Absolutely. Have you been enjoying it though? Or has it just been all frustrating? Have you had any positive things happening? Final Fantasy is hard to get past the 2.0 part, but I love the story. So I was able to 50 times? Wait, what? You said, am I right in saying that you've watched the story for Final Fantasy 14 50 times? The remake is good, Chovy? All right. Jonah answering the question of the day. It worked out in the end. He didn't get back in the water. He went to Nineveh. Feel pretty bad about it. I know to my guess. I mean, Girk, here's something to think about when it comes to that, okay? And that is the assumption a lot of people have is that the other person's always having a good day or a neutral day, and that their response is reasonable, or at least is something that makes sense from their perspective. And so therefore, if I would have been different, then maybe things would have went differently. That's not always the case. Sometimes on the other side, their perspective is off. Their mental illness or depression or anxiety or whatever is flipping out that day. They've had crappy diet. They've had a bad, they're whatever. And so no matter what you would have said or done or whatever in that moment, they were looking for someone to dump on. They were not, it was going to be somebody, and it just happened to be you. And then after they flipped out, they have a choice to either go back and be like, that was too much. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Or double down, right? And be like, yeah, double down, boom. And it's so easy to double down on Twitch because you can just block the person, or you can, because the drama gives views. It might not be you. It might be them. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be you. It could be them. Zach says, my 6-year-old is a backseat gamer. Good. You probably need the help, Zach. He probably is an expert. Some people get mad for some reason. It's true. And that's what I'm saying. Some people get mad. Shock says, question of the day, there might be a few things where I am doing the right thing, but where we haven't reached the end, so I'm still unsure. True enough. 50 alts? Bro, that's so many. I can't imagine having alts even in Genshin. There's so much work to do in that game that why would you start another one? Just get another character and build that. But I guess, I don't know, because beginning of the game for like Minecraft, beginning of the game is fun. Grinding the middle of the game is crappy. So I can see, I've started Minecraft, because that's fun. But the later on it can be a little bit grindy. I've answered to the question is pretty awesome, pretty personal and awkward. Well, bring it. He's a big streamer, so he probably doesn't care about anyone not being ideal in his opinion. Yeah, if you're not going to lose anybody, then it's easier to be a bit meaner, but still, doesn't mean that it's not you. Or that doesn't mean that it's not his attitude. Dragon, yeah, apparently my player data file corruption is not exclusive. At least 5 people have it, not anything common between all. Oh! I wonder if it had to do with the tech stuff, because you had a lot of tech stuff there. Because that's the only thing I can think that's common, is that you had a ton of tech stuff. Simon said, my chat was very, very not Christian. Now I have people like Shock Typical and you stomping in, and a couple of my strongest chatters have embraced the concept. But I still have a lot of growing to do. It's not bad or anything, just normal streaming jitters. Yeah, and I talked about this before, and that is, and I'm not going to poop on you, but, basically like making that transition, often you'll get a lot of encouragement from the Christian streaming community, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean growth or it's all positive. It just means you're surrounded by people that are supportive. Is that still on mission for you? That's the question, right? And I can see why, struggling with that's important. Kirk said, so I was pretty addicted to porn, as most are, and I hid it from my wife for a while. She found out, as they always do. But now she knows it's an issue. I tell her when I have issues and get tempted and stuff, and that's helped a lot. Never dreamed I'd be telling her those things, but I do now, and it's really helped. It is very hard. You're right, that is very, very hard. Because most women, at least that I've experienced with, don't really understand. They don't process pornography the same way that a guy does, and therefore it's far more emotionally charged than for them than it is for guys, and therefore it can be really painful for them. And so it's more of an incentive. Hopefully it's more of an incentive to not do it. But yeah, that's hard. Yeah, it's never been an issue and a guy can look at pornography or look at or whatever, and you know it's a moment and then it's gone, and it's like the person doesn't even register in your brain. They've done studies, right, where they just kind of show a shape, just a you know, an hourglass shape, and the brain just kicks in, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, girl, and it's like you get a little bit of, you know, because it's just the shape. We're looking at the shape, and then guys, you know, do their thing and they move on. Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that it's not as integrated into the system. It's far more I guess surface level for much of it. Don't get me wrong, it's still horrible and it's still addictive and it still corrupts your soul. It's all bad. But for women, you know, so much, for most women, I would say that I have experience with, sex and relationship is far more integrated, far more interpersonal, far more like there's emotions connected to it, and history and story and future and hopes and dreams and all kinds of other things happening in that relationship. And so like they don't just see a person, they see an entire story, backstory, history, all the rest of that stuff. And so when they look at you and they just assume you have the same kind of feeling, it's like you're rewriting your life for that individual you are looking at in pornography, and dismissing and changing and denying and removing all that stuff from your marriage. Like it's like you are cheating for them, and it shouldn't do it for sure. But women definitely process it differently. Yeah, they definitely process it differently. It's very painful for them. Very painful for them when it happens. For us, like, it's not as painful if it's the other way around, because we're like, you know, physical stuff. Okay, so you see the physical thing, but you're still emotionally connected to me. Fine. That's not how most see it. Shock says, I think the question today, I tend to focus on the mistakes. So when doing the right thing but making mistakes along the way, I focus on the failures too much. I pray that the mistakes I've made haven't affected people negatively, like sharing Christ, and fearing my mistakes have turned someone more away from God. Even though, as I mentioned earlier, I know it's the Holy Spirit, the work of God, that reaches people in the end, and I can't do anything he can fix it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Take an average though, right? It's not just one thing. It's the motives matter in Scripture so much. What you like, love covers a multitude of sin, is another way of saying your motives matter almost more than anything. You can do a good thing for wrong reasons, and it counts as a sin. And you can do a bad, stupid thing that totally doesn't work out and blows up in your face. But if you had the right reason, the right heart behind it, love has covered that sin, and it's you know, counted to you as at least you tried your best, right? It's not the same. Your motives matter more than anything. Zach says, man, I was afraid to quit content. Loved it so much. But I wasn't being the best husband and father. I needed to quit. It's been top 5 decision in life. What made it hard, Zach? Like, if I had money, and I don't, if I had money, I feel like I would be far more flexible with my time and able to do certain things and whatnot, because it, you know, but just quitting altogether something that is such a fundamental, huge part of my life it'd be really hard. So for you, what made content so drawing for you, or what made it hard to quit? Right? I don't know. What's the exciting part of it that pulled you away? Very kind of you to offer. I'm house sitting. Hold on. What did Kirk still say? I'm house sitting for my parents. Where was that? Watching my grandma right now. I have to change your diapers next day. Oh wow, dude, that's gotta be hard, my man. That's difficult. Good for you. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I really don't know if I'd be able to do that. Your eyeballs work again? That's good. I'm glad. She also pointed out that like watching porn is pretty gay, and it helped actually not to do, since I didn't realize I was staring at guys. Having accountability is a game changer. I guess. That's funny. So you're looking at naked guys, eh? Well, not like that, but yes. Okay, that's probably bad when I say it out loud. Yes, the Bible speaks of it as adultery. Actually, I mean, this is something I've actually tried to process in the past, and that is the idea of a pornography and biblical lust, or to a lesser extent, say, romance novels or romance stuff, or manga or hentai or whatever, and biblical lust, right? So if you what is lust? Like porneia is not the same word, right? Porneia is the word for pornography, as in like sexual bad. Let me look it up to make sure that I'm not talking out of my butt. Bible Gateway. No, not Blue Letter Bible. All right. So yeah, porneia, illicit sexual intercourse, fornication, adultery, homosexuality, lesbian intercourse with animals, sexual intercourse with close relatives, sexual intercourse with divorced man or woman. Like, it is sexual intercourse that you are doing with the wrong person, as in anybody that isn't your husband or wife, right? Whereas lust, I'm going to look it up, make sure I got the right thing. Jesus, lust, or women, sin, scripture. I'm pretty sure it's Matthew 6, but I can't remember. Matthew 5. All right, it was close. Matthew 5. You're going to be like, are you defending lust? Just give me a sec, okay? 528. 528. All right. But I tell you, anyone who looks at a woman with lust, clicking that button, boop, lust. Okay, so that is the Greek word epithemeo, which means to turn upon a thing, to have desire for, to long for, to desire, to lust after, to covet of those things that are forbidden. Okay, so, and this is where we're going, right? Exactly, Gherkin. So, right? So if lust, if Jesus says, don't look upon a woman in such a way that you want to have a desire for, to have sex with, to covet, as in you want to have that woman and nobody else can have her, to do physical things with her, right? Then you want to possess that woman in a way, that you possess a person for the sake of using them, kind of thing. That is lust. So, is that possible with pornography, right? So you go, okay, so if it's, I have a desire for, a long for, a desire, I covet, I lust after that woman who's on the screen, right? It's a woman, it's a real human being, it's a female person on the other side of the screen that you are imagining and you're putting yourself into a fantasy of having sex with, right? And so therefore, yeah, totally lines up that you are lusting after a female. But what about hentai? What about stories, right? Oh, let me back up just to make sure I'm catching stuff. Shock says, I'm not good at spiritual math. If I average out, I'm gonna give myself a 0. That's funny. I think cheating and adultery are different, like looking at a woman and having the thought of adultery, but I don't know women that would call it cheating on it. Yeah, exactly. For most, it's not fuzzy. Like, all cheating is adultery, but not all adultery is cheating. What? Hold on, I'm not sure about that one. I play mostly single games, and Warrior asked me to play Sea of Thieves and even Minecraft as well. Some part of my community always asks me to play. It gets me out of my bubble. Well, that's good. Girk says, honest question, is hentai, like hentai manga, wrong? They aren't real and just drawings. Is that so bad? So obviously it's bad, but it's like, is a sin the same sense with actual people? Don't most people watching porn just want to get off, and that it really has nothing to do with the person you're watching? That makes it confusing. So, but I think it does fit lust, and I'll tell you why. Is because if definition wise you are desiring, you're lusting after, you're wanting, you're coveting, you are using that individual and the parts of their body and this actual person as a way to have sexual release in a way that no other person is giving you and no other way it's working, to the exclusion of your spouse. I think that is porneia. That is utilizing. It's doing sex wrong. It's doing sex in a sinful way, right? It's the sex is supposed to be between a husband and wife, man and a woman, in a covenant relationship. And so therefore you are not in a covenant relationship with that person. You are physically using your eyeballs to look at them. You are physically stimulating yourself to their body, to their mind, and all the rest of that stuff. Or not their mind, they're what they're doing. And therefore, yeah, I think it's a porneia issue. That is porn, right? Whereas if you go to there's nothing in the Bible that says masturbation is wrong. There's nothing wrong with masturbation is not wrong. Here, I will give you an article that I wrote. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo. Here. I wrote that a while back. Though most people watching porn just want, hold on. Zach says, man, I'm so called to it. I have a drive to entertainment production. I have dreamed of being on stages, changing the world. Streaming podcasts. Maybe I was addicted. I don't think so. I've always been drawn to entertainment, being called by God and screwing it up sucks. Yeah. Is it because of the audience though? Is it because of the rush you get though? Is it because of like the like you want attention? Like that's the question I have, right? Is it that Zach needs attention? He doesn't get it from his wife, he's gonna go get it from other people, right? Zach needs validation. He doesn't get it from his wife, he's gonna go get it from other people. Zach needs to feel important. He doesn't get that feeling from his wife, he's gonna go get it from other people, right? Zach needs to feel creative and as though he's doing something special. His wife doesn't feel that, so he's gonna go get it from other people. Is that what we're talking about? Zach says, is it possible to lust after my wife? The answer is yes. If you create a fictional version of your wife in your head that isn't your actual wife, looks like your wife, sounds like your wife, but is doing things your wife wouldn't do, and is a perfected version of your wife, or something that you are using as a form of your wife, yeah, you're lusting after someone who looks like your wife that you've created into a different person. And it's not. It is lust after your wife, and therefore wrong, because it's not sex between you and your spouse. It's sex between you and a fictional character that looks like your spouse. That's bad. Hentai and photographic porn are basically the same thing. Lusting after someone who isn't real to you. See, I disagree, Shock. That's the thing. And again, it's nuance. But hentai people don't exist. They don't exist. Right? That's the difference. Like, I'm not arguing go look at hentai or read romantic novels. There are other things. Because the Bible talks about how whatever is pure, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is lovely, whatever is excellent, whatever is praiseworthy, think about such things. Do not be addicted to anything. Make sure that your mind is turned over to Christ. Make sure that your perception of reality is true. Don't be like don't get muddled with thinking that things that tempt you. Don't pour hot coals into your lap, or you're going to get burned, because it'll lead you. You never stay with hentai. It goes somewhere else. Like, all of those are reasons not to do it, right? There are lots of good reasons. Don't look at porn. Don't look at hentai. Don't look at and don't read romance novels, kind of thing, because it'll screw you up. The question that I have is, can you call looking at hentai lust or porn? I don't think you can call it porn by definition, because that is a sexual relationship outside of a marriage relationship. I don't think it's necessarily lust, because it's not something you could have. You can't covet that which you can never have. You can't desire that which doesn't exist. Right? Now, the twist on that would be if you are fantasizing about and creating a human being based on the what you're looking at, and that you wish that person existed, and therefore, so for example, say your spouse isn't physically attractive in whatever way that you've been looking at porn forever, and so therefore you're like, I'm not going to look at women, I'm just going to look at pictures of that, and in your mind you're basically comparing them to your wife and wishing that your wife wasn't that, and so therefore you're using those people, those fake drawings, as a way to distance yourself from your wife. Certainly not good. Probably borders lines on lust as a definition, even maybe porneia, right? Or say you're angry with your wife, and all the girls in the hentai and all the girls in the romance stories, they are always perfect and they're always perky and they're always available and they're always nice and they're always, you know, submissive and whatnot. And therefore your fantasy life over that is actually carrying into your real life and is steering you. And if you're a single man and you're not married, it's destroying your ability to understand how an actual real woman works. You literally can't find that because it's not true, and it's wrecking that future. But is that lust? Is that porneia? It's hard to nail down that exact word. But maybe there's a better word that I just don't know. Masturbation is wrong if you think about someone lustfully while doing it. No, lust is wrong. That's the thing, right? Lust is wrong. This the act of lust, not the act of masturbation. So would watching your own content then be wrong, as in the stuff that you make for yourself at home? I think the danger of that is fictionalizing your spouse. I think you could probably make an argument that you could be like, it's just between us and it's real and it actually did happen and it's just a memory and I'm using a memory of my spouse because, you know, that's just what it is. You kind of go, okay, you know, I think you probably make an argument for that. But I would say that the danger is, again, it comes at fictionalizing a version of your spouse that doesn't actually exist but looks like and sounds like your spouse. I think that's where the danger comes in. Zach, it's really hard to give up something you feel called to. Yep. Man, you guys are talking about this while I'm streaming. Well, browsing the stream store, just top sellers. One band hits a lot of people are buying. Dude, there's a lot of hentai games on there. Man, so many. The people in porn don't exist either. They're dramatized people with makeup. They are real people, though. That's the difference. They are real, actual human beings. They're. You could go find that person, and you could, you know, and people do. They friggin' go stalk them and stuff. They are a real person. You can't do that to, you know, draw a drawing. What about those who marry their waifu and legit wish that they were with that person who's fake on the page? I mean, that's a mental illness as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that's necessarily a lust porn thing. That's a mental illness. There's something that has gone so fundamentally wrong in their brain that they've crossed the ability to understand the difference between fiction and reality. You know, to understand the difference between a human relationship and one that they completely have control over and they completely fictionalize. They like that is it, by its nature is very, it's only self-focused. It's all about them, which is pride and arrogance and you know, even self-worship. They're basically creating someone to worship them. So note, if AI made an anime version of a porn model, it would no longer be based in reality. No, because it's not a real person. Hi, Stratus. Again, that's... Yeah. Actually, it's funny that you put it that way. Because if an AR made a anime version of a porn model, and it would look like a real human being but it didn't exist, would that be filed under hentai and therefore not porn? By my own little brain definition. That's complicated, man. That's a good one. I like that. I would disagree. You can covet what you can never have. Satan coveted God's power, but it exists. God's power exists. That's my point, is that it exists. The girl on the page doesn't. There's no way to get that. I think it's like what you, or Samus, I think it's like what you were saying about turning your spouse into a caricature of her. It's not your wife, even if it's a drawing. I think that, yeah, I think, Samus, I think that's where, if I had to nail it down, I think that's where it's going to come down to, is the fact that you are, in your brain as a you know, the mammal, you are taking that drawing or taking that fictional whatever, and there's something in you that is steering it towards reality, right? I like that part that's in like the hyper sexualized parts, or the submissive nature, or the whatever, the youth, the eternal, you know, being always turned on kind of thing. And I take that, there's something in you that turns that into a realistic, you know, like some kind of human being. If I could find that human, I would therefore love them. If I could find that human, that character out there in the world, then that is my perfect ideal, and I'm creating this aura around them. I think that's where you can kind of lean into the porneia of the lust thing. None of it's healthy, don't get me wrong. And again, I say this again, I'm not defending hentai. I'm not defending that stuff. I'm just saying that, from a perspective of strictly trying to call it porn or lust, is it? That's the issue. You watch the animation expecting people around to act the way that your fictional characters are. That's what I was talking about, Al. Yeah, exactly. Girk says, I mean, legally hentai is porn because that's where you get the lolly child. And that's again, porn never stays where it is, right? Porn always gets worse. Every time that you, wherever you start with lust or with porneia or with sexual, deviancy, it never stays there. Sex and sin, or lust and sin by its definition, is always a slope. It'll always fall. Because what'll happen is like any other drug or any other dopamine hit, you'll get, it doesn't work after a while. So you have to either increase the dose or you have to do something more to be able to get the same high as before. So now looking at a girl in a bikini, in a catalog and whatever, or looking at a girl in her underwear in the Victoria's Secret catalog, it's not working anymore. I need something else, which is eventually, when it's out of control, it goes further and further into more depraved, more gross, more violent, more like it always does. It never stays put, right? The end result of pornography left under control will be violence, control, rape, misery, horribleness. That's where it goes, because eventually you will not be able to get the same stimuli feeling from the normal stuff, right? That's the issue. And so therefore, same thing with lolly child, porn, looking at or hentai or whatever. It will not stay there on the page. It can't. You will be looking at that lolly stuff. You're looking at all the bad stuff until it doesn't work anymore. Once it doesn't work anymore, you're going to try to find something either more depraved on the page, or you're going to try to find something real, as in like you're going to go look for something that is like it and that is in reality and that gives you a better, more stronger stimulus until that doesn't work anymore. That's just how it works. Zach says, man, I have fought against that for so long. Do I do it for me or for God? As I've grown spiritually, I can confirm that it would be out of art, music, entertainment for God, not for me, but it is so much fun. It's similar to business for me. Business practices are fun. I enjoy marketing and growing businesses, and the end goal is ultimately money, but not for me. It's the journey of the business. That's the same thing for me in entertainment. The final product, God, I'm just having fun. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I know a guy who he really likes fundraising. That's his thing. Like he's like, I want to be a fundraiser forever. It sounds really cool. I love it. And I'm like, you're crazy, But for some people, it'd be like, oh, you like asking and talking about money? Like, no, fundraising is something I like doing, and the end result is great. Gurgy still said we had a youth pastor get in trouble for having deep faking porn of his wife on his work computer. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, if you're at work and you're a church person and you're doing that at work, you're trying to get fired. There's something more deeply wrong in that situation, and you don't want to quit because yeah,
so many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Exactly. If you're doing that at work as a church guy, there's something seriously wrong with something else. That was a cry for help from a person who wanted to destroy their marriage and their wife, and their marriage, their life, and their ministry, but didn't want to be the coward who left. They wanted to be kicked out. That's my opinion. And they yeah, that's what I think. Return to content is not out of the question. Yeah. I agree. There's got to be a middle ground somewhere, Zach. Hey. Nuance, my friend Zach. Nuance. I'm a big believer in nuance. This above all else does thine own self be true, which requires nuance. Gurgy Steel, I always hear dummies saying that lolly hentai is okay because they aren't real, and I'm like, dude, that's a child. Well, the thing is, though, it doesn't end there. That's still my argument. It'll never stop there. It's never going to be just. Right? There's something wrong. There's something broken inside that person that finds that attractive. It's a mental illness. It's a problem. Needs to be fixed. Needs to be counseled out of there. Needs to be, repaired. Even if there's never progresses something real, it's so damaging to you emotionally and spiritually. But the thing is, it'll affect you. Shock. Right? You think you're going to be able to go sit in Sunday school? You're going to be able to go watch a Sunday school, or like a Christmas play? You're going to be able to go walk to through a schoolyard? You're going to be able to go babysit? You're going to be able to do anything to do with children? It does leak. It will always progress to real. Always. You think people think that much about it? I feel like they don't. No, of course they don't. Nobody who takes their first drink or their first, smoke or their first hit of weed or their first, trip to the adult store or whatever the thing is. Nobody who does that thinks that it's going to end there. They all tell themselves. Oh, we're talking about kinds of stuff, Jillikin. Sorta, exactly. Yeah, nobody starts there, right? I just do it for fun. I just wanted to try it. It was just an experience that I had. I stumbled across it and I was curious. It's all the same. Everybody says the same thing about all of those things that eventually destroy their lives. I don't think you go to jail for cartoon porn of any kind. That's considered art. Art. I've said it before. You miss a stream, you miss a lot. You got to stick around. You never know. Kay was talking about a guy watching porn at work. I don't think they can think they were trying to escape their marriage job consciously. No, I don't think they were either. But I would say that if you go talk to them now, okay? If you go sit and talk to that person now, and you say, why were you doing that at work? What was going on there? You knew you were going to get caught. You knew you were going to get in trouble. I bet if they've done any kind of introspection, they will say, I wanted to get caught. I refuse to Google it, but there's so much horrible art that's porn out there that is hung in galleries and whatnot that I can't imagine that it's illegal if it's drawn. There's someone out there that calls it art. Yeah, I haven't even started my game yet. Actually, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little break. I'm only kind of committed to the church. Things Jesus never said. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to go just kind of take a little walk or get some fresh air or whatever. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to jump into Scarlet Nexus. So if you don't know Scarlet Nexus, it's an anime. It's a nice one. There's no like gross stuff from other animes. It's a nice one. A lot of violence, a lot of scary stuff with potted plant people. You'll understand if you watch it. But we're going to come back. We're going to continue on it. I'm going to take a quick break though, because I promised myself I would stand up and walk out the door at least once per stream just to check and make sure everybody's okay. So if you don't mind sticking around, if you can't stick around, please leave the lurk. That really helps. Now's a great time to go check out all my links and whatnot, the YouTube and all that. And also, it would really help me out if you'd be willing to talk to a friend or email or send a link to or whatever to somebody like your church, your friend, your pastor, your small group, saying this guy's on, he talks about, interesting things, he knows what he's doing, and he could use your support. If now's a great time to do that. I'll be back in a little bit, and see you soon. Controller. I'm not old. You're old. At least I didn't call it a joystick. Where's my joystick? There's my joystick. Blueberry pie. So my ranking is strawberry rhubarb, then cherry pie, then blueberry pie. I don't know if I can put... I don't know where you'd put chocolate cream pie in there, though. A paddle? Oh, wow. Hey, Commodore. A paddle? Dang. That's what we used to call the little wobbly thing. Do you remember playing Breakout? Who remembers playing Breakout with the old dial wobbly thing? What's happening? Somebody got spawned in the wrong spot. It's okay. You come with me. Here you go. There you go. Now you don't have to go hip hop, hip hop. Chocolate cream isn't fruit. It's a different list, right? Yeah, exactly. Samus. Yeah. Strawberry rhubarb pie. And I don't like key lime. Not a fan of lime pie. It's all right, but I've had some bad ones. I've had a good one, like one good one, and many bad ones. Strawberry rhubarb. Okay, I'm not the only one. Yeah. Am I just chatting? Gasp and guffaw. Let me just make sure that I got that fixed. Do Scarlet Nexus. Uh-oh. My internet broken? Okay, there we go. That was weird. It was like, it kept doing the little spinny thing. And I'm like, oh no. Okay, let me take a bite of this. Okay, if you don't know what's happening in the game, how many of you are following along? And you have any idea what's going on here? You want to change the title too? Okay, I will. Okay. So, this is the main character. Her name is Kasane. She has psychic powers. Okay? She just joined up with a squad with her sister of other people with psychic powers to fight. I'll look up. To fight. Oh, I guess we're in a different land. Bad guys who come from space, from the sky. And they're all basically like really weird looking bad guys too. Like, I mean, like, they look like potted plants and like dishwashers and like it's really weird. Okay, inappropriate. hentai confirmed. Scarlet Nexus is hentai confirmed. And okay, so that's so what happened is our sister actually got turned into one of the monsters. We found out that the government organization or large corporation is turning us, like us really psychic cool people, into monsters, and that's a bad thing. And so we're trying to save our sister from that happening, from the super bad guys, with using all this team. Each one a member of our team we can become friends with a little bit better, and as we become friends with them, we can utilize their skills a little bit better. I have a see the party. I can change what they do in the party, make them be all better, whatever. So like if I hit this, I can like they make different powers depending on what friends they are, and I can tell them to fight. I have something called a brain map, which means I can like get different skills. So that's my skill tree. And combat's really, really fun. All right, bye. Thank you. Appreciate you coming by, Eileen. Is it Plants vs. Yes, it is, actually. Okay, I can't remember where I'm going, though. But it always tells me where to go. Oh, yeah. There we go. We go to Kikuchaba, to the mid-level shopping district, obviously. What's neat about it though, Commodore, is that it's like if like you see all the red threads.
Is, but Kasane, do you really want to do this? It doesn't matter what I want. This is all I've got. Give me the directions. Understood.
All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going rogue with a couple members from my team, and we're gonna go find the bad guy and try to kick his butt. I think that's all we're trying to do right now. The art is so good. Like the art is so freaking good. I wish I could stream to you guys in 4K or at least 2K. I think my monitor's 2K. The detail is so stellar. I really, really enjoy looking at this game. But as we go along here, what you're gonna notice is that there's bad guys at some point. There, this is life, in case you're wondering. The green goo, That's called jelly, and it's what gives me my life back. It took me way too long to figure that out. I asked this before, but you got... Oh, there we go. Hold on 1 second.
If your body catches fire, it's gonna keep hurting you. Be careful.
Thank you. See, I have psychic powers. Ow! And then if I do this...
What, is it a late growth spurt?
I'm not done yet.
Hold on. What? Have I forgotten how to do this?
I'm going to get burned if I don't do something.
Something wrong. I think it picked up my controller wrong because I'm using the right buttons and it's not working. Hold on here. Right click, right button, right, left. No, there's something wrong. I gotta quit the game. That's dumb. Because what's supposed to happen is I hit the right button and then it lets me do a power move, but it's not working. So that means it isn't tracking my controller properly. Oh well, we'll come back. Yeah, am I ahead of you, River? Yeah, I'm not surprised. I rarely get 10 hours into a game without trying to peter out and get tired of it. But in this time, it's actually pretty good. Okay, let me play. Come on. I got the full DLC set up too, so it's got like a million things to load. Load game. That one, I suppose. It did save. Well, how about that? Yes, absolutely, Commodore. I'm here, AMA anytime.
I know where Yuito is, but... Kasane, do you really want to do this? It doesn't matter what I want. This is all I've got. Give me the directions.
Please, Kagura.
Understood.
Okay, so that works. I can go invisible. See, we're back. We can now do things that we're supposed to do. By all means, ask for whatever advice you like. I'm going to run the corner here and kick some butt while I wait.
Nice first strike.
I'm using it.
Thank me later.
If your body catches fire, it's gonna keep hurting you. Be careful.
I'll do it. Check me.
Enemy!
I'm
Ow,
going to get
darn
burned
it.
if I don't do something.
You owe me.
Wake up.
Lend me your power.
Kasane, the enemy is stunned and can't move.
All right.
There. Now, I beat those guys up. Let's look at the chat. What would you do if your reason for enjoying your favorite thing stopped existing? Well, you would just let me just zoom in here for a second. Okay, so what you're describing is actually a symptom of depression. It's a real thing. One of the things that happens is your brain starts lying to you about all the things that are happening in your life. For example, your friends aren't your friends anymore. Your job isn't good anymore. You don't matter anymore. Your family is all lying to you about whether or not they love you, and all your friends, the fun stuff in your life is no fun anymore. It's your brain lying to you about reality, kind of like putting dark glasses on, and all of a sudden everything in your life is like just darker. And so there's a lot. I guess if you want to just kind of zoom out, you can kind of go, okay, so it means that you're like, because you said, what if your reasons for enjoying your favorite thing stopped existing? Like, as in, like, I have no reason to try to do fun things, or all the fun things I do, I have no motivation to do. That you're not saying, what if I stopped liking a video game? What if I stopped liking the individual thing? It's just like, nothing brings me joy anymore. There's no reason for me to even pursue joy anymore. That's the mental illness thing. That's where there's an actual issue. Could it be something else? It could be that you have you're burnt out, as in you've been working really, really hard, and you've just there's a lot going on, and you don't have anything left inside of you to be able to invest in fun. It could be that you've had a massive level of disappointment, or you're going through grief or something like that, and because you're not processing your grief correctly, like you're going through some bad stuff, and you're not talking about it, and you're not working through it. You didn't do the you're not doing the counseling thing properly. It ends up clouding other parts of your life because you're not processing the negativity or processing the grief properly, right? There's an infrastructure on my hobbies that doesn't exist anymore. Can you explain that a bit more? Pursuing joy is kind of an idol for most people. I mean, it depends on how you're pursuing it, right? It totally depends on if you're pursuing distraction, or you're pursuing the feeling of elation, or you're pursuing the feeling of I guess, novelty, that kind of thing. If that's what you're pursuing, yeah, that's unhealthy. Pursuing joy is not bad. I mean, hedonism by its nature isn't evil. That's John Piper's Christian hedonism, right? That's the whole point, is that finding joy and pursuing joy is good. Finding joy in things that are actually going to ultimately hurt you, or something that's going to let you down, or something that's going to make you worse, or is going to be fruitless, yeah, that can be a problem. That's false hedonism, selfish seeking joy for the sake of hurting others, and that's never going to last. Bad. Hedonism by its nature, though, is not bad if you find joy in the right things. I think we're trying to pursue the things that give joy instead of the goal is just get joy. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you mean by that. How do you go get joy if you're not pursuing it? Right? Of course, you have to pursue the things that give joy, and for each individual, it's broad, as in, number one, like, obviously, our relationship to God, our relationship to others, whether or not we feel purpose. Like, there's some things, but everybody's going to have a little bit different. I just don't think we are trying to pursue the things that give joy, and instead the goal is just to get joy. Oh, you're right. I read it backwards. Okay, sorry. Then yeah, I guess. If you like you're trying to shortcut it. Yeah. I think you're right in that people get confused as to what happiness and joy is, and they go and find the shortest path to it, which is where that's temptation, right? Here, this is real joy. A committed relationship with someone who loves you. Even that you've been through really difficult stuff together, and now you have a formed bond, right? That's a lot of work. How about if I just go and I use some person for a night and pretend to have a relationship with them, I'll feel better. This one brings you true joy. This one over here is the fake version that'll ultimately eat you alive. Again, I mean, almost everything I liked about it doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's no cool future tech porn sci-fi anime anymore. There isn't psychological, and a big part of my enjoyment of it was the muted pastel colors. I never got used to the transition to artificial look glossy colors. I hate watching old anime because I hate feeling like the best times are long behind me. I mean, okay. Also, career ambitions don't exist anymore. Well, I mean, okay, we were just talking before about how some of the things that you look at in that way, like these things that are really a critical interest to you, that you pour a lot of your time, energy, and effort into. We're actually talking about porn before. Is that it never stays. You can never stay at the same level of enjoyment at all times. Like, for example, if you take a roller coaster, the first time it's terrifying, it's exciting, it's amazing. Second time, it's pretty fun. Third time, wow, that was really neat. Fourth time, I don't know if I like this as much anymore. Fifth time, you know what? This is getting tedious. My neck's starting to hurt. Fifth, sixth time, can we do something else? Seventh time, there's got to be another ride we can ride. That's just how life is when it comes to things that we like. It's never gonna work. So therefore, it could be simply that you have ingested so much and done so much and seen so much that you can't actually achieve the level of joy from the stuff that you've had before, because it's just you've just utilized it too much, right? The level of excitement that you would feel from watching your favorite version, or watching your favorite, I don't know what kind you like, but you know what I mean? It's just not there, because that's all you're part of. You need a break from it, my dude. Like, you need to find something that is new and interesting, or something different for you that you can kind of pour yourself into, that's not anime, that's not adjacent to anime, but something different. And then next time you find it come around, you be like, wow, that's really cool, and then you can enjoy it again. Right. But that's the thing, right? That's you're done with that now. Your body, your brain is done with that now. And if you're like career ambitions that don't exist anymore, like, again, I don't know you that well, but I will say, my dude, that it sounds like there's more of a mental health issue, more of a depression issue there than there is an actual issue. Like, obviously, you're like an issue with the anime itself. Like, yes, of course, you're going to get burnt out on whatever you're going to watch for a lot of times, but there's a chance that this is actually a broader problem that is affecting more of your life. And that if you dealt with that, as in like you felt better about yourself, you felt like, you know, your hope returned, you felt more confident, you felt like people cared about you more. Like if you had more of that, like healthy relationship stuff side of things, that you would that the other things in your life would bring you more joy. Right, but that's the thing. If your head was in the right place, you'd be like, well, I'll just go find another thing to watch, or I'd go find a new thing that I can enjoy, whatever, right? Like, but you're just like, forget it. Yeah, well, like I said, it sounds like what you need is to pursue things outside of anime for a while. Yeah, well then go take some time off anime. Go look at you know, old school sci-fi, or go read like some, I don't know, read a sci-fi novel that you know. Yeah, there you go. See, but there you go. So why don't you try read about it for a little bit. I'm gonna get back into the game. And find my way, making my way downtown. Hello? What?
Keep your guard up.
Ow!
Are you okay?
Use it well.
Yes, Kyoka. Thanks to you.
It's over.
Oh, who's that? Some others take a defensive stance when approached, but they can't be damaged in this protective position. But you can use SAS hypervelocity and invisibility to approach them. Okay, good. Oh, sorry, dude. My bad. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead and use my power, Kasane.
Was that oil? It'll be hard to move if it gets on you, so be careful.
Thank you later.
Cover you.
Is it light? There's no... We did it. It lost us.
Got it. It's over.
Someone's covered in oil. You can burn...
Star Trek was all that filled the void, but new Star Trek... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need... Okay, let me try this again. So, give me a second here, dude. Like, the place that you are pursuing your excitement and interest, the place that you're pursuing your joy right now, isn't fulfilling you because it is not capable of fulfilling what you want. You're going back to the well, and the well is dry. Then you're trying to find wells in the same area, and those wells are dry. You need to find a new area, a new place, a new thing to be able to get that from. Right? And it may not be sci-fi, it may not be anime, it may not be the thing that you're used to. It could be something else outside. For example, it could be a hobby, or it could be a relationship, it could be a sport, it could be a you know, like an online interactivity, it could be a group thing. Like, so yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I think you need to get out of that and find something else, something deeper, something more meaningful for you that has better that is outside of that realm. And you gotta process that, dude. You really gotta think through, what is that for me, instead of just going back to the same old well. What is it? What do I like, and what do I want to experience Could be that like the best thing you could do would be like go to a class. It could be that the best thing you do pursue spiritual things, like go to church, go talk about God stuff, go talk about like big thoughts, like big God stuff, because it could be amazing to you, and all the stuff that you learned in anime and sci-fi all come crowding together into that conversation because you know you got some other way to apply it. Yeah, that's why it's not working anymore, dude. You need something bigger and deeper. Yeah, but eventually you get to the end of it, Girk. Like I felt that. I watched a lot of anime. Eventually, like, you know what? I'm done. I gotta wait a whole nother season before anything else can happen.
Easily, so watch out for fire attacks.
Dang it!
Damn.
I'm going
Ouch!
to get burned if I don't do something.
Still fight.
Take care of it now.
Let's try.
I'm gonna be dead. Hold on, I'm gonna be dead.
Here.
Thanks. You saved me.
Time to fight back.
The attacks to the outer shell are working. I'll try to break it.
Please, Kyoka. Work hard.
Aim for that spot.
Useless.
That was a great attack.
That's a good one, Disco Bear. Good idea. Dang it. Let's try this again.
I need your help. Please, Kagura. I'm borrowing this.
Not bad.
Hey, Alex.
Get crushed!
That was a nice move.
All right, that person's shielded. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
Please, Kagura.
Yes, Kyoka. Thanks to you.
Use it will.
The attack hit the enemy's outer shell. You might be able to break it.
Okay. Stop hitting me with things, and then I'll break it. That guy's really scary.
Thanks for the help.
Dip. All right, run. Okay. Now
So
I'm wet.
annoying.
Great.
All right.
The enemy is attacking with
Yeah, but
electricity.
with an umbrella.
You'll be shocked and unable to move if it
Get
hits
up!
you.
Get up! Get up! Get up! What am I gonna do here? This is
I'm
hard.
using it. I'll do this, Shiden.
Did it work? Is he dead? This isn't working at all. Hi, Alex. What's going on, man? Ouch.
Are you okay?
Lend me your power.
Yes, Kyoka. Thanks to you. Damage to outer shell confirmed. Break it.
There we go.
I'm borrowing this.
Didn't I break his outer shell? Isn't that the whole point here?
The shell is broken. Aim for its weak spot. That seems to be the spot.
For you, Kasane. Next.
There. I did it. I did the thing. He died. I win. Wait, what? Bad guys? Oof. That was really scary.
That was close.
All right. Now where are we going? Hopefully there's some life down here. I've been using a lot of health. There we go. Oh, hi there. Crap.
I'll do this, Shiden.
Enemy is stunned.
All right. Gimme. But my reasons for my career ambitions not existing anymore, it's technologically related, but I had a very young age taking part in stereos, being attacked. The idea that all I need is a comprehensive understanding about technology with a simple screwdriver. Well, you'd also need a little bit of education and someone to affirm that you know what you're talking about. That's the thing. Yes, you could be really good with a screwdriver, and yes, you could be really good at knowing some stuff, but you need someone to tell you the deeper stuff, and you need someone to affirm that you actually think what you're thinking is right. Otherwise, you'll just assume you're right and get yourself in trouble. I got the brain map will give me 3 things. Okay, what can I do here? Further increase the number of objects thrown, or defeating enemies with brain crush. Nah. Increases XP multiplier. Speed which allies are revived. None of this sounds any good. Hold Y while midair to perform a downward weapon attack. Sure, why not? I could use another thing that I can do. Hold on. Dup, dup. Oh, that's a good one. I'll take that. Don't remember where I'm going. I just hope the purple line will, or the little red diamond will tell me. That's all I care about. What do you do now, bud? What's your thing that you do now? Nah, I can't go to Orlando. I don't have the money, and I'm not getting sponsored. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting time, considering they're only bringing in people that actually are going to try to get something done, which wasn't necessarily the case last time. But no, I can't come. I hope it goes well though.
Well, we came here just like the guy wanted us to. Are you sure about this?
I feel like the last 3 years have been that though.
Kill Yuito?
I'm waiting for the job. Like when are we gonna get together and do the thing?
We couldn't just let you go by yourself. Everyone here has your back.
Listen, Kasane. We'll help you fight, but it ends there. After that, each of us will act independently. Got it?
There you are.
Uh-oh.
Kasane, just hold on. We can talk this over.
I don't think we can.
No point. You'll be dead.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to kill me? At least tell me the reason.
I told you I don't want to talk.
Ow, dang, darn it.
I don't have a choice.
Can you handle it? Please,
Oh, he's
Joker.
using the same powers against me that I am.
Let's get serious.
If you're trying to kill Yuito, I'll do everything to stop you.
I just wanted to stay out of this. Fine. Will you please calm down, Sagumi?
Kasane, if this keeps up, neither of you will come out unhurt.
You owe me.
Do you really want to kill Yuito?
Work hard.
You don't have to help me if you don't want to. Just stay out of my way.
Why isn't she dead yet?
Kasane, we should attack them individually. We should nullify the other two before Yuito.
Okay, we'll do.
Using brain trust.
Did that work?
Stop it!
Not bad.
That was close.
Thank me later.
Use it well.
That's hard to do when the guy's running around invisible.
I don't have a choice.
Where's the other guy? Oh, they're there. Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me! Don't kill me, no! Stop hitting me!
Here.
Thanks for the help.
Sorry.
I hear Kirito.
I can still fight.
I don't have a choice.
I have to do something.
It's useless.
I'm not done yet. Now.
Oh, right.
It'll work.
Now I remember.
Leave the rest.
Come on, die.
Now.
won't be killed. Sorry.
I'm using it.
You owe me. Let's go.
Uh-oh. I got hit. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
I can't waste time.
All right, let's do that.
My head feels clear.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Sorry.
I'll track you down and kill you.
I'm the kind of guy that gives it my very best.
Let's regroup now.
The trash needs to be taken out.
Hit him, hit him.
You're just going to die.
I'm gonna run out of power on this eventually.
Do something.
I did, I died.
Can you move?
Oh, I'm back, yay. I didn't die.
Sorry for the trouble.
All right. Basically being a bad guy? No, I'm not. Okay, so essentially, so here it is, Gurk. On this side, there's two distinct stories. There's the guy story and the girl story. I'm playing the girl story right now, and there's a bit of a time travel stuff and whatnot. But the girl basically is been told by this guy, this character, in the future to come back and kill me because that's what saves the world, right? So she's not a bad guy. She's just been told to kill this guy, and she won't take a no for an answer, especially considering her sister just got in trouble. I've never played his side, so I don't know where he's at in this. But I know I'm getting my butt kicked. You want to do a duo stream, like both stream well in a VC for Honkai Rail? Oh, that's fun, man. I love that idea. Let put a pin in it just to say that sounds like a really fun idea. But the level of amount of people that have asked me for a collab that I've currently said, can you hold on, is very long. When does Honkai Rail come out? Some enemies that use powers can create a brain field. With some exceptions, you can use your psychokinetic attacks. Uh-oh. I'm in someone else's brain field. 26th? No, I appreciate that. I want to. I want to do more collabs. I got too many things in my brain right now.
I'm borrowing this. Lend me your power.
You got this, Kasane. Thank me later. Make it good.
Someone close to their limit.
I died, but I did. Somebody bring me back from the. Oh no! I got annihilated, but then I was in his brain drive, which is no good because I have less power. See, he was in mine for a while, and I didn't take him down. All right, I guess we'll try this again. That was terrible. First things first, we gotta beat up everybody else, apparently.
Why are you trying to kill me? At least tell me the reason.
I told you I don't want to talk.
Work hard.
Thank me later.
If you're trying to kill Yui-chan, I'll do everything to stop you.
I just wanted to stay out of this.
Lend me your power.
Fine. Will you please calm down, Tsugumi?
Kasane, if this keeps up, neither of you will come out unhurt. Do you really want to kill Yuito? You don't have to help me if you don't want to. Just stay out of my way.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
I missed it. Oh man. I did that powerful thing and then I mess up the.
Should nullify the other two.
Focus.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
For Yuito.
Looks like I got stronger
I'm
again.
not done yet. Not yet.
For you, Kasane.
It's over.
You have a choice.
Using brain drive.
Am I?
Leave the rest.
There, I got one.
It's over.
Why?
There we go. Now we can take them.
I'll track you down and kill you. You're gonna stop me?
I'm not done yet.
I'll track you down and kill you.
How's that?
Kasane, your
Oh, now we're both
princess
in
here
brain
to
drive.
save you.
Come on, get up! No!
I can't.
Oh, that's so hard. So how does one find another well, especially when one discovered those wells at an impressionable age? Well, it requires... Okay, here's two things you can do. Okay, Commodore, number one, you go and you find a group of people with common interests that you had, like, for example, an anime group or a group, a sci-fi group or whatever like that, and you go and join that group, because within that group, you're going to find people that are either in subsections or whatever, or people who are part of another thing. So if you're within a group, you should be able to find tangential stuff. Like, for example, I like sci-fi, but I also like D&D. I like sci-fi, but I also like carpentry. I like sci-fi, but I also like music. And that way you can kind of work and have a path that leads you there. And the second thing you can do is simply just go out and try some stuff. Like, go and be like, okay, I'm gonna go look at a blog article that says top 10 hobbies or whatever, and I'm just gonna try a few new things to see what happened. You know, that I would suggest the first one, finding a group of people to kind of work with that kind of think like you do, and then that way you can work with them and go places. Number one, I would say. Yeah, I have no issue not doing the stream. Over, you'd love to talk. Oh, dude, I would too. The Girk, and that's what I said. I love the idea of collabing. I want to with more people. I really, 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 really do. The issue for me is that I just between life and the fundraising and the stream and the post stream stuff and all that, I just don't have it, and I don't want to let anybody down. Like, I literally feel like I'm barely holding on to the little details that I'm supposed to be holding on to. Not in a group. Can't find that group. Most people with those interests are older. Nah. It's out there, dude, especially online. Like, go. What Discords are you part of? Like, are you part of any Discords that are that have your interest? To carry the story forward, and because I am a wimpy wimp, I'm going to turn it to easy mode. Okay, here we go. I've been looking online for years.
We came here just like the guy wanted us to. Are you sure about this?
I'm not sure you found the right Discord then, bud. Well, I hear you. A lot of Discords are just plain old dead. What? Okay, so... Hard to brainstorm. It's hard to since I don't know you, obviously. I don't know you that well. But give me your... to me, the right Discord is the one with people that are like you, whether you have learning disabilities or you have, a special interest, or whether you have whatever. People that are like you, but have gotten together and they can actually mutually support one another. So maybe you just kind of joined a giant one, join a smaller one that's more focused on what you like, right? So there's got to be some out there, because there's a million different fan places. Is there a streamer that does what you like the best, that kind of is into your thing? Do they have one?
Why are you trying to kill me? At least tell me the reason.
I told you I don't want to talk.
Can you handle it? I'll do this, Shin.
If you're trying to kill Yuito, I'll do everything to stop you.
I just wanted to stay out of this. Fine. Will you please calm down, Segumi?
Ow, I'm getting my butt kicked. Worse on easy than I was before.
Kasane, if this keeps up, neither of you will come out unhurt. Do you really want to kill Yuito? You don't have to help me if you don't want to. Just stay out of my way.
More power. Sorry.
Kasane, we should attack
One
them
down.
individually. We should nullify the other two before we
Working on
do
it.
so.
Too slow. Sorry. I'm not done yet.
Work hard.
I need your help. Sorry. It's over.
Let's try. I won't be killed.
I think you will this time.
I'll leave the rest to you.
Where is he? Is anybody else hear Kirito saying stop it?
That's gonna
Please, Kagura. Lend me your power.
You owe me.
Won't get away.
There. What? Oh, I thought I got him.
Sorry.
All right, we're going inside. All right, hold on. We're gonna pause and read. Smaller ones are very active. Way out when I post in small ones, Discord, there's somebody get. Yeah, I understand, but at the same time, it's an active Discord, right? That's the important one. Doesn't have to be necessarily a big size, but an active one. Had a lot of fun building resin kits, anime characters. Dude, I actually did I ever tell you guys I made polyhedral dice? I actually was someone who's created and sold with resin and silicone molds D&D polyhedral 7 set dice. I know how to make them. I made them. They're really, really fun. Super fun. Same Discord's SFA. Well, keep pounding away, man. I'd say keep pounding away at it, bud. Microsoft asked me to buy Microsoft link card again. Oh no, your launcher didn't work. Okay, so WoWs, here's what you do, in my opinion. Go to the Microsoft launcher site, download the previous version, install it over top of your launcher right now, and then relaunch. What it'll do is it'll go and update itself, and it should iron out whatever kinks you have. So just install the previous version of the launcher. Ribeye, nice. Yeah, I honestly, dude, I think you should just keep banging away at the ones you're in. Then you're doing the right thing. You just gotta catch that right guy.
You're gonna stop me?
Damn it. This is bad.
My head feels clear.
Gotcha. Let's go.
Understood.
Okay, I win.
Shut up and die.
Game's way easier on easy.
Kasane, why?
Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure I read. I like being a burden. A lot of them say I should see a therapist, but I can't. No, dude. Yes, maybe you need therapy. Yes, maybe you need, because obviously there's some depression there. Obviously there's some issues with relationship stuff. Yes, everybody could use a little bit of conversational therapy and stuff like that. But if what you're looking for is a special interest group that'll give you something that you can do because you're sick of anime, you're sick of what you're doing, it requires you connecting to another group. You need other people in your life to be able to do that. You go to a therapist, they're just going to tell you to go find a hobby. They're not going to tell you which one. You need to find a special interest group that connects to you so that they can help you find that next thing. That's the next part of your life you got to figure out. Is that where's that relationship, right? Where's that group? For me, if I like, I can go to my church, I can go to my friend who is kind of my age, I can go to people who are on my Discord because they, you know, we've kind of gathered a group together. I have Taco, and you're going to talk about Taco, you know, like the Alliance for Creative Outreach, which is a group of creators that I work with and has a board of people that I've grown to become friends. I can tell them, I can say all this stuff to them because I've built those relational structures in my life that when I need something like this, I can actually just go and ask for it. I can be like, hey, what do I do now? I'm bored with this. And somebody will say, go watch this, go try this, go here. You know, have you tried going outside? You know, things like that. You need that. And Love Thy Nerds, actually, yeah. There you go. Kirkenshield. Go join Love Thy Nerd. Go read their website and join their Discord. They're a great group of people. They have a ton of interest that interesting people. Love Thy Nerd. That's a great idea. Go check out Love Thy Nerd there, Commodore. How's Taco? Taco's doing all right. We've had 3 big events. We've been doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. We're planning out a new event coming up, and we're launching the new Taco Discord full of all the creators and whatnot. That's happening. So everything's kind of chugging along slowly. Right now, the big thing for me is trying to figure out how I can become full-time pay before I run out of money and end up having to quit doing all the things I'm doing right now. That's the big crisis for me right now. But I thought we beat him up. Didn't he die? Oh well. Guess he didn't die hard enough.
Kasane, tell me. Why did you kill my father and join Seiran? Is it because my father was involved in metamorphosis research? Because New Himuka turned Naomi into an other?
Mm-hmm.
So you found out about it too. Yes, that's exactly right.
That's why.
Master Yuito, Kodama is here.
Huh?
Kodama. Great, just what we needed. We should fall.
Like that, you have you looked into any grants? In Canada, I can't find any grants. They don't do religious grants in Canada. None of the denominations will give me a grant because I'm not part of them. The one grant that I found that Jamie sent me, I applied for, and they said no hard because I'm not in the States and I'm not, because I'm online. It's really hard, my dude. Let you do what you were doing, but provide curriculum on it for people or something. I mean, I don't know where to find that. I really don't. I wish I could, man. Just a marketing term definition. Anybody that watches the movies. No, Love Thy Nerd is a ministry that reaches out to nerd people of all varieties in order to be able to connect them to each other. It's exactly what you want, Commodore. Love Thy Nerd does that. Seriously. Go talk to Bubba. Or go talk to Luke, Frostbite from Love Thy Nerd. Man, they're good guys. They will point you in the right direction. Yeah.
Back to our hideout.
Wait,
Yeah.
Kasane!
I'm a weird dude, Girk. Honestly, God has me on such a weird path.
This is completely messed up. How can you just decide to kill Yuito like that? That day we came back from the future, you said that it wasn't going to be an easy decision yourself.
Our future depends on it.
Look, if that's your argument, do you actually have proof that it's all true? I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that killing Yuito is the answer to solving everything. Besides, it seems pretty extreme to kill both the father and the son.
What exactly is your reasoning behind all this? If you can justify killing Yuito, then I'm all ears.
There's no point trying to explain.
That's for us to decide!
What?
Well, I went to the future.
I've been wanting to tell you this for a while now, Kasane, but you are way too selfish. You make quick decisions and determine what needs to be done. Even when you lose your cool, you're able to compose yourself.
Sounds like a ministry. It is a ministry. They reach out to nerds to connect them to things that they're interested to so they can show them love. Yes, that is what that is, bro. Which is what you want. You want a relationship with people who love you and care for you, who have an interest that you have, and they can connect you to other interests. That's what they do. Go join it.
I really respect those qualities. Yeah, I said it, I respect you. That's why I was able to accept you as my leader. But no, not this time. Why should you kill Yuito?
Well, you're barking up
Don't
the wrong
expect
tree here,
any
then.
help from me until you can give me a good, valid reason.
Yeah, it's not a church. Commodore, my dude. You can... Okay, I'll tell you what. You've tried all the other ones, and you just said you joined all these things and they're not connecting with you. How about you join a group of people that are Christians that literally are driven by the love of people and their love of God for people? Just do that. It's not... I don't know, man. It's not like they're gonna come and they're gonna like smack you around with a cross or anything. They just want to get to know you and show you some love because they like nerds like you. It's yeah. I'm not gonna. You don't have to do it. And quite frankly, if you're like, you know what, I'd rather be alone and annoyed and depressed than go talk to a Christian. That's on you, bro. But I can say that Girk came up with a great solution, and you should take him up on it.
But...
Whoa there, Gideon. I think that's enough. Ah, the youth are so passionate. I like it. It looks like your passion got to her. Continuing to harp on her like that isn't going to get us answers.
Listen, Kasane, we have no idea what kind of things you're bottling up inside. We don't know the weight of it, or whether it's painful or not. The only thing we know right now is simply what happened to Naomi.
Saying
she
that
didn't
an
talk about going to the
explanation would
future.
be pointless means you have something you should say. Lucky for you, there are 4 open-minded people here ready to listen. I'm pretty sure there are different perspectives you can consider as well.
Yes, Dragon.
Tell us.
Yes.
We deserve to hear it.
Yes, we're all on the same team.
Concern. Understood, Commodore. But one of the misconceptions that people have about Christians and Christian ministries is that they want your money. They don't. They don't want your money. They won't ask you for your money. Right? So don't worry about that. I mean, if you're worried about getting gaslit into, I don't know, giving up your, I don't know what you're afraid of, but I get that. But they're not going to ask for your money. Nor are they going to ask for you, like, your time or your stuff. They just want to connect you to other people and show you some love, bud. I agree. There are some really horrible Christians out there. Some very terrible religious people out there that do horrible stuff. Totally agree. But they are not one of them. They are not one of them. Yeah, but they're not going to ask first thing, Girk. They're going to be like, hi, Commodore, what are you up to? Give us money. That's not going to happen. If you're there for like a few years and you get to know them and you learned what they do and you learn to care about them, they'll be like, hey, here's a link to a donation thing. You know, just like I have. Like, if you look here, I want money. I do. I want money to be able to keep doing what I'm doing. But I'm not going to not counsel and not take care of people and not help them best I can. The whole point is that people who believe in what I'm doing follow up with being able to say, hey, we'll help you out. But that's for people who are into it, not for everybody. Yeah.
Here. I'm sorry.
Bummer about the past, though,
So you're
Commodore.
really not
That
going to
sucks.
tell us?
Having that color your future would be no good.
I just wasn't sure how to explain it, so I'm sorry I said it'd be pointless to tell you.
Well, if that was the case, then you should have said something.
Stop yelling.
I'm sorry. Oh, this apology is for making you jump to conclusions, so...
Yeah, I think I got that.
Hey, Gideon, come on. Let's try to relax a little, okay? It's great you're invested, and that's cool and all, but it's also lame at the same time.
Shut up! Anyway, if you're gonna tell us, then tell us already.
Yeah.
Okay. The first reason is what I felt at Kunad Gate. I felt something like the power of the red strings coming from it. The time portal that should be disappearing lingers because of Yuito's power. That's what made me believe what future Yuito said. The second reason is because of what Karin said. He knows that we went to the future.
He does?
Arashi, you were eavesdropping so you can confirm.
Yeah. From what was said in the future, I knew there was a good chance that Karin was involved in some way or another. He's at least aware that a time-traveling power exists and has accepted it.
The third reason is that the Seiran official said Yuito was involved.
I see. So for you, all your suspicions leading up to now were confirmed.
Yes. I mean, they're all just circumstantial, but it's all I have. I'm sorry.
You're apologizing for the wrong thing again. What we wanted was a fair explanation, and you provided one. You don't need to apologize for that. And it's thanks to your explanation, we came to understand exactly why you made your decision.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from now, but I still have a question.
Will you go
Why
out with
didn't
me?
you discuss all this
no.
with us?
Okay.
I told you. I didn't have any definite proof, and I didn't think you'd believe me.
But I did. And everyone else here too. Some of it I'm still not convinced about, but I don't think all of it's a lie. It's proof that your way of thinking is wrong. That's why we should talk from now on. We have each other's backs here.
Weird,
That's
because
what
this
makes
guy's
us
the
a team.
jerk, and he's like, no, we want
I'm
to work
sorry.
together.
There you go again.
Huh?
There's a different phrase you should be saying right now.
That's right. If you want to build trustful relationships, an apology isn't what's needed right now.
Okay.
Oh.
What's she supposed to say? Let's go? Thank you? That's the word. I got it.
Everyone.
I got there. Now we're in standby again? Okay.
I guess I should talk to Kagero. Kasane, good. Do you mind if I butt in?
I do. I'm gonna go. Okay. I think that's more than enough. Ooh, yes, you see, I have all the DLC, my dude, like all of it, and it is spectacular. It's got like a ton of weapons, and all the color things are changing colors, and just a million different things. So yes, I'm gonna raid out. So let's go find out who's on. I have, okay, 26. That's funny. Let's see who's on. Anybody got a suggestion? That guy with the thing in front of his face? That I put that on him. We haven't seen Wilpog in a long time. You guys like conversation. Let's go raid Wilpog. He's good. He's good. He's a great chatter. So go in there and drop down some chat. He's from Brazil, I think. He loves his coffee, that's for sure. Coffee and sushi, weirdly. Sushi and Brazilians, I feel like, I don't know. I guess everybody likes sushi though. All right, dudes. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Taco Tuesday. I'm gonna try and find something to talk about with Taco. Otherwise, we can keep doing the AMA thing. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. And I'm very thankful for our big long conversations today. I hope you hang out, and I hope Wilpog takes good care of you.